Hello there. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Agostinho Zinga show with your host, Agostinho Zinga. And this is episode number 932. Yes, that's 932 of the Agostinho Zinga show, coming at you live and direct from an undisclosed location somewhere within the depths of East London. How you doing? How you feeling? Great, amazing, good to hear. And in case you're wondering why I'm cocking my neck up this way, to over enunciate my words and to emphasize my point, is because I just purchased myself, because of the tiny little shillings, the tiny little coins, the tiny little subs, the tiny little memberships, the tiny little cosigns, the tiny little follows, the tiny little patrons I get from you guys, which I greatly appreciated. I decided to get myself a new microphone stand. You can't actually see it. I'm going to lift it up on here. It's kind of heavy, but it's a decent new little microphone stand that I've got myself. You see that? You see that? Nice, isn't it? But the only annoying thing about it, it doesn't really bend. But it is sturdy. It's sturdier and it does stay where it's meant to stay. The other one didn't really stay where it was meant to stay. So I'm happy I got this one. It sits where it needs to sit. So hopefully, as I over enunciate my words and I kind of flick my head up every time I'm kind of puncturing my sentences, you can hear what I'm saying. All right. But yeah, we're here. We're live. We got a new mic stand. We got an M4 MacBook Air. I'm going to mention this fucking thing until the day that I DIE if it's likely. I'm going to mention this shit until I DIE if it's likely. So big up everybody that supports the channel. Big up everybody that supports the pod. Big up everybody that supports the Patreon. Big up everybody that follows on the Instagram. Big up everybody that comments. Big up everybody that follows on the Twitter, on the Discord. Big up everybody that just watches. Even the silent watchers. People that just don't even like, don't subscribe, don't comment, don't nothing, and just watch silently. You are all very, very dear to my heart. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for supporting, man. Because without you guys, I wouldn't be able to get a microphone stand. You get me? Because I wouldn't be able to get a microphone stand if it wasn't for you guys out there. So big up you guys. Appreciate you guys so fucking much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okie dokie. Let's get on with the show. Let's get on with the show. Because today I've got a jam-packed day of shows today. I've got to make up for lost time. I've got to do this pod today. I've got to record a couple of Patreons. I've got to do a fucking random show later. So today's going to be jam-packed. If you have been missing me the last few days, if you've been missing me these last few days, if you've been concerned about me these last few days, if you've been concerned about me these last few days, I'm on my fucking Dr. Umar shit, then you're going to be happy these next few hours. You're going to be very, very happy. But I've got a lot to get through. So, number one thing I want to talk about is this Raja Jackson controversy, right? The son of legendary UFC fighter Rampage Jackson, aka Quinton Jackson, is in a bit of trouble, a spot of bother. Basically, long story short, I'm sure most of you know Wagwan, but he was at a wrestling show. A little amateur, professional, low elite, whatever it was, right? Maybe it's professional, but it wasn't the big fucking promotion like WWE. He was live streaming himself at this show. He ended up getting into a little bit of a passer with a wrestler called Syko Stu, or Syko Stu or something with Brendan Cooler, I forgot his name. But anyway, he gets into a bit of an altercation with a wrestler called Syko Stu. This wrestler, for whatever reason, interprets the interaction differently. He thinks the interaction is part of the wrestling promotion or part of the storyline, part of the work, whatever they fucking call it. He decides to smash a beer can over that kid's head. The kid doesn't take it too well. They have a little argument. The argument gets split up. They break it up. The wrestler realizes he made a mistake. Like quickly realizes, oh shit, this guy's not really involved. He's not really a part of the action. He apologizes profusely, in my opinion. He apologizes profusely. He makes it pretty clear he doesn't want any smoke. Rampage Jackson accepts his apology in that moment. But then later on in the day, during the stream, when the actual wrestling event's happening, and Rampage Jackson's watching the wrestling fight from the front row, something happens in the ring that kind of triggers Rampage Jackson to go in and take part. But before they said he wasn't part of it, but he does take part in the end. He comes in, takes part. He grabs a guy in a double leg, I guess, puts him on his shoulder, slams him on the ground really, really hard. The guy's head bounces off the canvas. It looks like he's already out, to be fair. Not sure if he's playing along, but that Syko Stu guy looked like he was already out when his head banged the floor. And then as his head bangs the floor, Rampage Jackson does Raja Jackson does what any UFC fighter, MMA fighter would do. he gets full mount and just decided to fucking ground and pound, wailing on this guy's head as he's unconscious, which you don't usually see. I'm not gonna lie. Like, even in street fights, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of watching street fights, right? I love a good public freak out. I love a good bum fight. I love a good street altercation. You know, I'm a big fan of that. I was one of the people that was like obsessed with this subreddit called Watch People Die. I know it's macabre, I know it's crazy, but I was fascinated to see what happens with people's last moments, how they react, how it goes down. And for the most part, I remember someone saying it actually. I think it was somebody on the Jocko Willink podcast. I think it was a Jocko Willink podcast. Like a veteran came on there and basically was kind of like dumbing down or pouring cold water on the whole like enlisting thing and serving your country. And he basically said like, yeah, there's a lot of like stories that come out of this that are quite heroic, that are quite inspiring. But he basically said like, yeah, at the end of the day, like you join this, you're part of this fraternity. You go to the army, you're in the Marines. You end up having these amazing relationships with people, which he says you don't really replicate anywhere else with fellow soldiers, right? You end up becoming so close, so bonded together that it somehow, it's just beyond, a description how close they get with their brothers. And then those same brothers that you serve with, you sometimes will end up, unfortunately being on the field and they'll end up getting blown to pieces or dying. And he basically said that there's no honor in that death. Like people are like folded over fences. Their faces are, their eyes are wide open, looking fucking terrified in the face during their last moments. They're coughing up blood, just horrible, horrible scenes. It's nothing like you see in movies, like these heroic kind of last stands. It's like, nah, when you die and you're out there serving your country, you die sometimes, in a pool of your own piss, in a pool of your own shit type of thing. It's not something to kind of really be celebrating. And so I'll be watching those videos. And I watch videos where people have street fights, and very rarely, I feel like early YouTube or early video platforms, there would be that element of people like fighting, and then the person, gets knocked down to the ground, and the other person is like wailing on them and not stopping. Nowadays, I feel like when somebody hits the floor, for the most part, people do stop. Not too sure if it's because of the cameras. People don't want to get in trouble with the police. People are more conscious about, in general, just not killing somebody. But you very rarely see what Raja Jackson did to that wrestler. You don't actually see that often in street fights. Somebody knocked out and the other person just like raining blows on their head. Now, thankfully, if there's a slight silver lining on this story, thankfully, a lot of those blows that he tried to hit the guy with, he didn't connect. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Like, he could have been raining down fucking elbows on this guy's head. Do you know what I mean? Because he's a trained MMA fighter. He's got a fucking professional record, for fuck's sake. If that Raja Jackson wanted to, he could have really gone crazy and really be aiming, elbows and everything. And every punch could have connected exactly to his square to his face. Luckily, a lot of the punches, not luckily, I don't know how to describe, a little silver lining. Not a lot of them connected. But still, serious damage was inflicted on this guy. He was completely out. He was bleeding from his ears, I think. I'm hoping it's not the case. But I remember when I watched the video the first time, it looked like he was bleeding from his ears. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think bleeding from your ears is not a good sign. I'm no expert. I'm no physician. I'm no nurse. I'm no doctor. I'm no nobody. I'm not Brendan Schaub's Asian doctor either. But I would assume bleeding from your ears is not a good sign. And it looked like he was bleeding from his ears. Maybe it was him bleeding from his head and it was dripping down. But whatever it was, there was a lot of blood there. He was lifeless on the floor. It didn't look like he was play acting. And then all his wrestler friends jumped into the ring. They kind of cornered Raja. He was still trying to get him, which was fucking psycho, right? He just spent 30 seconds kind of punching on this guy, defenseless on the floor. And then he was still fighting back the other wrestlers trying to get at him again as they were pinning him in the corner. Some other guys were punching Raja to kind of get him to fucking chill out and slap him out of that fucking rage that he had. And eventually Raja kind of like chilled out, and then I guess he left. I think there was one wrestler in particular, some guy that had like a white and blue face, I think was following Raja for a bit and shouting shit at him and trying to fight him and basically standing up for his guy. But for the most part, he just kind of left in a fit of rage. And he was saying a bunch of stuff. Now, obviously, most of you have seen all the videos around it. The build-up to it involves a lot. There's a lot of like nuance to the build-up. But I don't think it's necessary to even talk about that. Because we can say that that wrestler that told Raja to get his receipt is to blame. That's true. he has some partial blame to it. But did that wrestler tell Roger to get into the ring, slam the guy on the floor, knock him semi-unconscious, and then wail him as he was defenseless on the floor? No. He told him to get a receipt. Now, I'm learning about wrestling terminology. I had no idea grown-up adults cared about wrestling as much as this. It's kind of ridiculous in the first place. I thought we all stopped watching wrestling when that documentary came out that revealed wrestling was fake, but I guess not. Now we've moved into a stage in life where people are openly talking about plots and storylines and character development in wrestling as a part of the show, which is weird, isn't it? Because in the past, myself anyway, and I'm sure some of you guys, we pretended like wrestling was real, or we wanted it to be real. But nowadays, people know it's fake, but they openly talk about the fake element of it, and it kind of adds to it, which is kind of cool and kind of weird. But regardless, I'm learning about all these fucking new terms. And it obviously wasn't, like, scripted, right? It wasn't a thing that was done. Now, you could blame the wrestler that told Roger to go get his receipt, sure. But if you want to split our blame, you could also blame Syko Stu. Because Syko Stu incorrectly assumed Raja was a part of their wrestling whatever team, whatever that was going on that night, their promotion, and he hit the kid with a beer can over his head. Now, Syko Stu wasn't to know that Raja already had a concussion from that previous sparring session where he got that crazy spinning kick to the head, and he was clearly on fucking wobbly street and all over the place, and his ego probably got dented, and his dad's on his head top, and his chat's on his head top. He was not to know that. But you could also attribute blame to Syko Stu, attribute blame to that wrestler told him to get a receipt, attribute blame to the wrestling promotion in general for it encouraging the other wrestlers to go at fucking Raja to get him involved because he's not a fucking wrestler. He's a fucking civilian. He's an MMA fighter, right? And you would imagine, again, I'm just saying this as a fucking no information, no understanding, no knowledge guy, but I think when I record pods, or when people record pods in general and content, I think it's far better to get the impression of somebody, you know, flying off the seat of their pants with barely any fucking real information of what happened, but not a lot of in-depth information to kind of cloud your judgment. So I would say, I would have bet, this would be my assumption, but I would assume there's probably some weird vibes between MMA fighters and wrestlers. I don't know why. Don't ask me why I think so. But I'd imagine there's probably a lot of wrestlers who think they can fight. And there's probably a lot of MMA fighters who wish they could teach wrestlers a lesson about what real fighting is. There's probably a lot of tension there. I don't know why. I'm just saying this out of the blue. It just came to me right now. But I just assume there is a lot of ego, a lot of pride, a lot of whatever. So imagine that bubbling under the surface, and in your promotion, you're telling your fighters to go and encourage them. It's just dumb all around. You could blame all these different people. Blame fucking Raja's dad, Rampage Jackson. I've seen a clip of Rampage Jackson, right, talking to his other kid, who I think is like half Chinese or half Asian. And then obviously I saw a clip of Rampage interacting with this kid, Raja, and the fucking difference is brutal. You can tell, like, that Chinese kid, or that half Chinese kid that Rampage has, is like Tiger to Brendan Schaub. And Raja is Boston to Brendan Schaub. And if you know, you know. You know Brendan's got a clear favorite. Tiger's his favorite. Boston is like, you know, it's just an accessory. And it's really kind of sad to see how obvious it is that Rampage has a favorite. And the way he talks to Raja is not the same way he talks to his half Asian son. And he's a lot more soft with the half Asian son, a lot more understanding. If anything, he talks to his half Asian son like a dad. He talks to Raja like he's his uncle, big brother, like bully on the. I know it's a weird relationship, but there's a lot of like there's a lot of fight bullying because that kid's obviously an MMA fighter. There's a lot of teasing about, oh, you can't fight, you do. Like there's a lot of all of that. There's a lot of like poking. So I'd imagine all of that didn't help. So, like I said, loads of blame could be attributed to loads of people. But ultimately, the accountability and the blame has to rest at the feet of Raja Jackson. That guy is 25 years old. Not that kid, that guy. That guy is 25 years old. I'm sorry, man. You should know much better. 25 years old. And if this, or when this goes to court, there will be no kid shit going on there. He'll be tried and treated. He'll be tried in a court of law like a fucking adult, because he is. And what he did was completely out of order and disgusting. Even more so when you rewind the tape and you see Syko Stu was clearly, in my opinion, apologetic and remorseful. He did not know that Raja wasn't a part of it. Yes, should he have kept his hand to himself? Yes, should he have not assumed straight away that he was involved? Of course. But as soon as he realized that Raja wasn't on that timing, he apologized profusely. And Raja said it was cool. I'm sorry, but if you say it's cool, it's cool. It's different if, like, we have, like, real beef in the streets. Look at me talking about streets. But yeah, imagine we have real beef in the streets. Blood is spilled. People go to prison. People die. Okay, cool. No matter how much sorries you say, I have to get my lick back. One way or the other, I'm going to get my lick back. But if there's a little fucking... It's like having a little argument with somebody playing five-a-side football. You play five-a-side football, the guy tackles you too hard, and then he says sorry, and you accept it, and then the next day you see him at a fucking Tesco Express, and you just fucking hit him over the head with a fucking champagne bottle. Is that what people are doing? You can't do that. He said sorry on Tuesday. He apologized. You can't be banging him over the head with a bottle of fucking Jameson's in Liverpool Street on the fucking Friday night in front of the hoes. Nah, that ain't fair, man. He said sorry, he apologized, you move on. And the fact that he did that, the fact that he was like, yeah, I'm going to get my lick back, I'm going to do this. That guy is a piece of absolute dog shit. I'm sorry. That kid is an absolute piece of dog shit. Raja is a piece of dog shit because that guy could have been, and most likely will be, permanently affected by that beating. That was just completely unprovoked. Completely unprovoked because they apologized, draw a line underneath it. That's one thing you kind of pride men with, right? Men usually don't harbor that kind of resentment. You could be playing really hard basketball, football with some boys in the fucking park. You could be going extra hard on each other, elbowing, pushing each other to the ground, kicking, pulling. As soon as the fucking game is over, you're all sharing beers. You've forgotten about it. You're not scrapping in the fucking pub. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with men when it comes to sports or just roughhousing and shit. Shit happens, innit? Someone slap you in the face, he says sorry, and he means it. Okay, then to set the apology. If he didn't say sorry, that's another problem. But still, I would advocate fucking, 25 unanswered fucking hits to the head as the guy's laying there fucking semi-unconscious on the floor. Completely out of order, completely out of bounds. And most likely, I don't think the kid's going to face attempted murder charges though. I think, if anything, you'll probably get like, if you guys in America have like GBH, grievous bodily harm, or like ABH, actual bodily, I think you'll get one of those charges. And still, you probably have to sit down in prison or jail at some point, you'd imagine. Which again is completely fucking crazy because it was such a non-event. But, the guy's got a fragile ego. He obviously was probably, in my personal opinion, I think he was still suffering from what happened with that spinning kick. I think that spinning kick fucked him. I think the trolling kind of got to him a little bit. But ultimately, his accountability lies at his feet. I've heard all these people make up all these fucking scenarios and blame his dad, blame this. It's like, bloody hell, bro. Like, what happened to fucking extreme ownership? What happened to fucking taking responsibility? What happened to accountability? Like, why go on for this? Why are guys running around acting like women? Women can not be accountable. That's fair. That's what women do. Women and accountability is like fucking Neo in the Matrix. You know what I mean? They fucking hate it. But that's their thing. Guys cannot be like that. If you do a mad, like, in my opinion, if you do a madness, you have to be fully conscious of the ramifications. Like, you think of it 10 steps ahead. That's what I do anyway. If I do a madness, I think, okay, cool. If I ever get caught for this, X, Y, Z is going to happen. And you just play it out and it is what it is. You're not crying. You're not bawling your eyes out. You're not fucking putting up a GoFundMe. You're not fucking, pulling out the race card, act like a victim. No, you did a madness because your ego was dented, because you're thin-skinned, right? Whatever it may be, because you have some trauma. Whatever your issue was, you did the madness. Okay, accept the consequences. Let's not make up some shit. Because when that guy goes to fucking court, he's going to pull out all the stops. He's going to talk about being raised by a single parent, rough childhood, Rampage did this, Dana did that. Like, that kid's going to pull out all the stops. He's probably going to come into a fucking court with a chin neck brace on. He might wear a fucking helmet to say like he's a bit fucking dented and shit. He's going to pull out all the stops, but ultimately, he decided that was a good idea. He nearly fucking ended this man's life over a fucking altercation with a fucking Coke can. Like, come on, bro. Like, for real. The guy apologized in the moment, in the instant there, right there. very apologetic and sincere. I thought so, and he continued doing it. So that guy most likely is going to face the full force of the law, you would imagine. And I'm just happy to learn, though, the recent development is that Syko Stu is alive. He's alert and he's talking. And it looks like he's going to make a somewhat of a full recovery. Thank you, Lord. Curse your TMZ. Syko Stu, alert and talking, says wrestler who stopped Raha Jackson. So, good news from Stuart Syko Stu Smith. On the medical front, the pro wrestler is conscious and communicating from his hospital bed. According to Douglas Mallow, the man who came to rescue and stopped Raja Jackson during a brutal attack, Stu remembers mostly what happened during the early parts of the day. He's talking a bit. He's alert. He's still got some injuries that are very serious. Not like life-threatening serious, but facial injuries, stuff like that. Fucking hell. Facial injuries. Now, they're saying the guy who's told or encouraged Raja, Jesus, got some bazonkas there. The guy that encouraged Raja to go and get some receipts, which they say in wrestling is the term for, like, if a wrestler hits you too hard during a match, you're allowed to kind of like hit them back. But it's a punch, it's a slap, it's a kick. It's not like, you know, wail on him fucking 20 times unanswered. So they're saying that that guy has allegedly been fired by that wrestling promotion. That's what they're saying. They're saying that guy's been failed. Now, I don't think they fired that guy because he did anything wrong per se. I think they probably fired him because they're afraid of any lawsuits coming up. I imagine so. Who's to know? But that's what I imagine. But I still don't think you can blame that wrestler. Is he partially to blame? Maybe. But still, he said receipts. And receipts in wrestling terms means punch him back, slap him back. It doesn't mean fucking wail on him as he's semi-unconscious. So let's not go that direction. The blame should still be at Raha's feet. Raja, whatever you fucking say his name. Smith, who's been hospitalized since the violent attack Ugly's incident on Saturday, which could have been significantly worse if Mallow hadn't stepped in and stopped Raja's attack. By intervening, Doug found himself tussling with Jackson. Although he has some bumps and bruises, he believes he could have been seriously injured. I'm pissed at what he did to my friend. I'm pissed for him punching me in the face. I'm pissed for him that when I went to take him off and told him to calm down, he tried to double leg me. That sounds like a Brendan Schaub attack, innit? That sounds like a Brendan Schaub attack. Not in a double leg castle. Jesus Christ. And there's a clip of it. I'm not going to play it. You guys have probably seen it yourself. It's fucking distressing. So I recommend you don't watch it yourself anyway. But you get the gist of what happened there based on the screen grabs. If he would have double-legged me, he would have done the same thing to me that he did to Stu, you know? Thankfully, that didn't happen. Order was restored and Stu was rushed to hospital. Rahaf left the venue, but he's not off the hook. We broke the story on Monday. LAPD's launched an investigation, and many are calling for Rampage Jackson to be criminally charged. There's a bunch more with Mallow, who gives his perspective on the beer can incident before the in-ring attack. He also reacts to WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry, placing some blame on Stu for what happened. It's fucking crazy. By the way, Mark Henry, big L, Mark Henry. Big L people like Brendan Schaub who are saying, oh yeah, I had to figure out a defense for this. I don't know. It's just a nonsense, man. Just an absolute fucking nonsense in the end of it. Absolute fucking nonsense. But one thing you can say for sure though, wrestling is a scummy sport, innit? It's no surprise though, innit? There's a lot of scummy people involved. Like, from everybody that's involved on Syko Stu's side, that kind of egged it on and played a role, Ra's involvement, the alignment with fucking kick streamers. Like, wrestling is full of scumbags, isn't it? I guess it just is what it is. Maybe because it's fighting, it's entertainment, who knows? But wrestling is full of some utter scumbags, so it's no surprise that this, like, scummy, tragic, horrible, nearly life-ending event happened. Because there's so many horrible people involved, you know? Yes, this guy's a veteran and shit, but, you know, you're still surrounded by some, like, you know, for lack of a better term, psychos. You work and breathe with psychos, so when psycho shit happened, you shouldn't be too surprised. But still, he didn't deserve that, you know? He didn't fucking deserve that. He's just trying to make a living. He's just trying to put on a fun show. And he did not fucking deserve that kind of shit. That was fucking crazy. And yeah, man, pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Talking about crazy. Grimsby 2, United 2 full time. Grimsby won on penalties 12-11. Grimsby won on penalties 12-11. Now, Personally, I'm not going to talk much about the penalties because I think the penalties was whatever. I wasn't even celebrating them on the timeline. I was seeing some absolutely shameless people on the timeline celebrating penalties, celebrating scoring the penalties against fucking Grimsby, who play in League 2, by the way, in this country. 4th tier of English football. The 4th tier of English football, and people were celebrating it. I saw players like Bruno Fernandes and others mean mugging the Grimsby fans as they scored. So I'm not going to talk about the penalties. I think the penalties was bullshit. I think even if United would have won on penalties, I still wouldn't have been happy with the result. I'd still be spitting feathers. I'll still be demanding signings. I'll still be cussing out the Glazers. I'll still be cussing out Ineos. I'll still be blaming the fucking manager. I'll still be on the head top if we won the penalties. I'm telling you this now. Man, people know Wagwan when I talk about United. I don't fucking mince my words, and I speak the real. None of this fucking agenda shit. But there needs to be a serious question, a serious conversation about like what's actually going on with this club, like behind the scenes. Because I'm going to agree with a bunch of people. I'm going to agree with some people out there that say Ruben Amorim is out of his depth. I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to agree with all the people that say Ruben Amorim is out of his depth. The Portuguese league isn't the English league. Even though he won Sporting their first title in Portuguese league after 20 years of a drought, it doesn't fucking matter. If Sporting came to the Premier League, people are saying Sporting wouldn't be even top 10. Okay, I'm agreeing with you. Ruben Amorim is out of his depth. The Portuguese league isn't that great. His previous achievements aren't that impressive. What he did in the Champions League was a fluke. That's what I'm saying right now, right? That's what I'm saying. So, if that's the truth, right? I would also want to pose this to you. Those people that say it's Ruben Amorim's fault, get Xavi in, get whoever else is hot on the scene in now to manage us. If I agree with you on that front, I would have to push back and say to you, I don't think you need a world-class manager, a top 10 manager, a top 4 manager, a European level manager to get a result at Grimsby away from home. I don't think so. If you're United and you spent 200 million on that attack and you got the players that you've got, I don't think that you need a manager on the bench at all to win that game. I think you could send out the fucking coaching staff. I think whoever Ruben's coaching staff is, Pedro and whoever the people are, right? There's that fat guy, other dudes there, right? Those Portuguese dons. I don't think you need an actual coach on the sidelines to beat Grimsby. All respect intended, you don't need that. With that kind of level of disparity when it comes to professional level of class, you know, I think Grimsby players, some of them have part-time jobs and shit. Like, professional players of Man United standards should be beating Grimsby at a canter. Easily. The fact that they didn't is, for me, the most worrying aspect of it. Because I could sit here and say, we still need, right? I could sit here and say, we still fucking need midfielders. We still need fullbacks. We still need, most likely, like a defensive midfielder, an attacking midfielder. We need fullbacks. I would even go as far as saying that we probably need, if we're going to get rid of Højlund, we probably need another striker to play up front in case Sesko's out of form or injured. We need a new goalkeeper. So we still need four players, let's say. Personally, in my opinion. Let's say minimum 2. 4, minimum 2. With that being said, put that to one side. I still think that team, even with Onana in goal, even with Bayinda in goal, even with Maguire at centre-back, even whatever's going on, the Maguire came on late, don't get me wrong, but yeah, you know what I mean. Like, even with those players playing, I still think we should have enough to beat Grimsby. And I'm wondering, why didn't we? And it probably comes down to the attitude of the players that we have, which is why I think, and why I've been screaming from the hilltops, I've been confused as to why we are unable to offload players, because I think we're not giving our managers, and this includes Erik ten Hag, who I hated, this includes Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who I hated, we're not giving them the best chance to succeed, who's Jose Mourinho, because we don't get rid of players, that we don't like clean the decks. Like, when new managers come in, they're meant to be able to clean the fucking decks. They're meant to actually rinse the squad of all the players they don't want and get the players they do want, because it's easier to basically direct, to lead, to instruct, to micromanage players that are new than players that have already been there. Because players that have been there, especially people like Luke Shaw, who have survived like 7 managers, they could comfortably just sit there, fold numbers, and say, "No, fuck that, I ain't gonna track back. No, fuck that, I ain't gonna run," because they know most likely they're gonna outlive you. They don't really have the incentive to do so. But if you get new players in, they want to make a name for themselves. They come in because of the coach. They're gonna have a different type of motivation when it comes to playing. So I often wonder, do a lot of our managers suffer because we don't necessarily turn over the squad as well as other teams in the league? But again, put that to one side, we still should have enough to beat Grimsby. Now, when it came to the playing on the day, what I noticed straight away was we were losing the individual battles, which is something you hear a lot of. Like, it's kind of like a football cliche, especially in this country. It's something I used to hear in Sunday League. Win your individual battles. Don't let the ball bounce. You know, that kind of shit, right? Down the lines, press. It's an English cliche or footballing cliche, but I think it really applies. When you're losing your individual battles, especially against a League 2 opposition, that's a problem. That's a real problem. I saw Ahmad losing his battles, Fredrickson losing his battles, Dallo losing his battles. I think Maynard was probably our only best player actually playing. A bunch of players losing their individual battles with players across the pitch, and I knew we'd be in trouble. And if anything, it would have been the biggest crime against football if we would have went through. And I actually would have preferred it if Grimsby would have won in normal time and not gone through the whole fucking rigmarole of penalties, because penalties are like a flip of a coin. But it would have been the biggest scumming, the biggest scumbagging, the biggest robbery in football ever if we would have got away with that with a fucking victory and went through to the third round. We didn't deserve it, bro. We did not deserve it. We were so fucking bad across the entire pitch. And I don't even, you shouldn't have to play Cunhas and stuff. You shouldn't have to play those players anyway to get a result at Grimsby. But the fact that we had those players on the pitch and we couldn't do nothing is really interesting. Another thing I find interesting is this. Did you guys notice how little of the ball Benjamin Sesko had? Did you guys notice how little of the ball Benjamin Sesko had? The reason I say this is because all summer, United fans on social media, United fans on YouTube, United fans everywhere have been screaming at the hilltops that our main problem was Højlund. No one really spoke about the midfield. I didn't really hear people scream about the midfield until we got linked to Baleba. Midfield was not a problem. Everyone thought, oh yeah, we got Bruno, right? Fucking dickheads. No one spoke about fullbacks either, even though Dallo's stinking up the fucking place. Nobody spoke about needing a new goalkeeper. Everyone's okay with it. People were saying Højlund was our main problem. It's Højlund's fault. Okay. So then we get Benjamin Sesko in. This kid that's been linked to all these big clubs. He's like an Ibrahimovic regen. He scores all these crazy goals. His highlight reel is fucking nuts. But what I'm seeing of Benjamin Sesko play up front, I swear to God, I'm not trying to be mean, but he looks worse than Højlund. The kid looks worse than Rasmus Højlund. I kid you not. He looks worse. Why does he look worse? He's taller, he's bigger, he's obviously stronger, and he cannot do jack shit. I've not seen him once pin a defender back. I've not seen him once dominate a defender in the air. I've not seen him once stretch the back line. I've not seen him once run onto a ball. I've not seen him really attack corners that much. I think he attacked one cross with a header in that game. So that's proved to me is that maybe Benjamin Sesko isn't as good as some of you guys made it out to be. And also, or maybe he's not big of an upgrade. He might be good, but he's not a big of an upgrade that to get. So I would have, personally, if it was me, I would have kept Højlund and put the money somewhere else. Kept Højlund for one more season and spent the money elsewhere. That's what I would have done, because I think you could get away with a Højlund or spreading the goals around the team. You don't need to have a main centre forward. Not in this United team. We're too shit. So, with that being said, what I think is really interesting about Sesko is what I saw with Højlund. As bad as Højlund is, first touch, movement, striker's instincts, I think his finishing ability is pretty high, in my personal opinion, Højlund. But those little fundamentals, that his propensity to fall over all the time, Højlund, the things that people didn't like about Højlund, I think what was surprising to me was people's lack of honesty in terms of chances missed. Because I can't remember many games where Højlund missed a cut-in, like a gilt-edged, one-on-one, has to score chance. I can't remember. I think most chances that Højlund got were like scraps, were like ricochets, were like fucking rebounds, whatever they were. But they weren't clear-cut chances. He, in my opinion, personally, again, I could be wrong, but I don't remember Højlund missing a lot of gilt-edged chances. So it really shocked me when people were saying it as if like Højlund was the main problem, as if we finished 15th because he didn't finish his dinner. I don't think that's true. We finished 15th because collectively, as a team, we are shit. As a team, we don't get the best out of individuals. We don't get the best out of certain positions. We don't progress the ball well enough up the pitch to create chances. Because if you sign a player like Syko, who's at what, 6'4", right? Maybe 6'4", built like a brick shit house, and you don't ever put the ball down the channel. You don't ever give him through balls. You don't ever whip the ball fast along the ground or crosses in midair so he can diving header into, because allegedly his heading ability is really fucking high, really high level. Then what's he gonna do? Syko's main strength that I've seen is running with the ball towards the box, firing from range. When has he got that? When has he ever had that space at United? When has he ever been in that position? I don't remember. I can't remember the last time he's been able to run through the channels, break through the lines. I can't remember. So Syko's been made to look really bad in this team because I don't think there's been a plan for him. Personally, I don't think there's been a plan. The club wanted an upgrade from Højlund. They signed the next available upgrade. Don't get me wrong as well. Maybe it's not the club's fault because I feel like nowadays the striking department, the transfer or what's available is not that high level, personally for me. Like, people are talking about Isak like he's fucking Thierry Henry. I like Isak, don't get me wrong. What's happening with him at Newcastle is unfortunate. I think he kind of shit the bed there. I don't really see a need to kind of force that move out of Newcastle after a year. It's just a bit much for me personally, but I get it. Everyone's got their dreams of playing what they want to play. But people are talking about Isak like he's Henry. Isak is all right, but he's not like a world beater. Let's relax. But that's the standard we're at now. Isak is like the, you know what I mean? He's the bench that people want to hit at the moment, especially in the Premier League. So maybe the club didn't really have many options because, you know, the next tier down is the people like Syko's. So maybe his price range also doesn't reflect his ability. But the really concerning thing for me is that we're not creating really a lot of chances for him. He's doing a fucking a graveyard shift out there. He's running doggies. He's chasing down shadows. He's getting bullied by League 2 defenders, like horror show. But with all that being said, I need to give a special congratulations to Onana. I need to give a special congratulations to Onana. I don't think I've seen a worse goalkeeper play for United. I don't think I've seen one. I don't think I've seen a worse goalkeeper play for United. Onana might be the worst goalkeeper I've ever seen play for my club. Ever. And the weird thing is, we've got two of them. Bayinda is also pretty useless. So we've got two keepers who are pretty useless after having years and years of really good number twos. Years and years of a very good level when it comes to David De Gea. And now we have two goalkeepers who I don't think any other team in the Premier League will take. I swear to God. I don't think there's a single team in the Premier League that'll take Onana or Bayinda. Maybe Bayinda. Maybe Bayinda. Because Bayinda's got good feet. And he's obviously shown with penalties and shit, he's a good shot stopper. So maybe a team could get something out of Bayinda and be like, hey, we're going to limit the amount of shots you receive. We're going to protect you around corners and shit. And just use you for your strengths, which is ball playing and maybe shot stopping and penalties and shit. But overall, they are some pretty terrible goalkeepers. And as much as people want to blame Amorim, as much as people want to blame the players, the formation, Glazers, Ineos, I look at that game against Grimsby and I think to myself, even that first goal I think is the fault of Ahmad. He loses the ball. Then I think it's the fault of Fredriksson. He doesn't get quick enough out to his man. But I ultimately think it's the fault of Onana. I'm not going to lie. It's the fault of Onana. That Grimsby player finished, I think, near post. And it wasn't like a Rooney near post. Because a Rooney near post finished, if you remember the legendary Ruben near post finish, he kind of like pushes it and gives you the eyes. Makes you think he's going to go for the far post. But then he like quickly cuts it into the near post. And he catches the goalkeepers off guard. That kid was not that cute. That kid was not that fucking ingenious. He just aimed it near post and Onana was not prepared. And he does that a lot. I remember seeing somebody say, an old goalkeeper, somebody was analysing him, and I can't unsee it now. He like dives over balls. Like usually goalkeepers are meant to like dive like at a diagonal level or try and dive like across, like, you know, like kind of like across but down. Onana has this weird thing where he sort of like dives up and down, like in a kind of N shape. So he's kind of diving over the fucking ball. It's a very strange technique. And that obviously I would imagine leads to some of the unforced errors. But I think that first goal could be leveled at Onana. Now, again, Ahmad lost the ball, gave up running back. Fredrickson didn't get out to his man well enough. He was already having a stinker. Cool. But then the second goal was all Onana. And I just think to myself, like, what can you do as a team when you know every time the ball goes to your goal, there's a possibility your goalkeeper might shit the bed. And then now you're required to score like 4 goals to win a game. It's not easy, man. It's not easy to do. So as much as I want to blame the players, blame the club, whatever, starting up a season with Onana as your number 1 goalkeeper, or not being sure and having Bayinda and all these guys as your goalkeeping options hasn't helped things. But I still think if you had me in goal, if you had you in goal, you know, whoever, if they had fucking Ahmad playing in goal, I think we should be able to beat Grimsby Town away from home. I'm not going to lie. And the fact that we didn't, I think is a sad indictment of where we are as a club. And I'm not surprised really. I couldn't be too angry about it. It's a shame really because without Europe, this would be a good trophy to kind of get in the trophy cabinet, maybe build some confidence to kind of be able to win a trophy, because the FA Cup is a much more difficult competition than the fucking League Cup. So that would have been nice to do, especially with all the free time that we have with not being in Europe, but that's not the case. So we're out. Congratulations to Grimsby. Happy Grimsby won. I'm fucking happy and ecstatic Grimsby won, especially after I saw what Bruno was doing, like big timing, me mugging the Grimsby fans. I thought they deserved it. I thought they played fucking really well. The fans were up for it from minute 1. Their players were up for it from minute 1. Grimsby had a player, actually, Josh McEachran. Big up Josh McEachran. I remember back in the day. He used to play for United Academy, got released a few years back. Big up Josh McEachran. Really happy that he was able to play the way he played and obviously put a fucking great performance in there for his team also. And also big up one of the black players as well that missed, but it didn't really matter in the end because they still went through. So big up Grimsby Town. Pissed off for my club, but big up Grimsby Town. Big up Grimsby Town. Now, the really concerning thing about the Grimsby loss was Ruben Amorim's comments after the game. And the comments of Ruben Amorim after the game, to me, sounded like a man that wanted to give up. If you remember correctly, a story came out in The Athletic that said Ruben Amorim wanted to walk from the club, not once, but twice, if I'm not mistaken. Once, I think he considered it, and the second time, I think he actually floated it with the board, and they said, no, stay. So I think he wanted to leave 2 times in the, 9 months or so he's been at the club? He already wanted to leave because of how badly you were performing and his inability to affect change. And after this particular game, he was really depressed, really down. I think after he wakes up, he will be a little bit annoyed at himself and a little bit ashamed that he, was that defeated, to be honest, because yes, it was a bad result, but really and truly, it's not the end of the world. We're only 3 games into the fucking new season. Yes, we haven't started well, but there's still time to recover this and turn things around. And the fact that he's kind of like throwing his toys out the pram a little bit and, a little bit concerning. But I think when he wakes up and sobers up, he'll be a little bit more pleased. But I think the mood that he's in, I think, again, is more of a reflection on, like, just the disarray the club is in general. Personally, I would say. Courtesy of Sky Sports News. Ruben Amorim said something has to change after Manchester United defeat to Grimsby Town, that it could not be the 22 players again. Man United suffered an embarrassing defeat in the Carabao Cup second round to League 2 club, losing 12-11 on penalties. Having fought back 2-0 down in the last 15 minutes, Amorim repeatedly said afterwards the players spoke very loudly with their performance. And whoever was interviewing him misinterpreted this and thought, oh, what do you mean? Are they not informed? Blah, blah, blah. But to me, when Ruben Amorim says the players spoke really loudly with their performance, I think essentially what he's basically saying was that the players threw him under the bus and they want him gone. Because that's what ends up happening in professional football, right? When players aren't happy with the manager, they usually play, grumpy and with a long face and pretty shit. They end up getting beat as a way to kind of get the manager gone. And it looked like the players did that. I don't personally think that was the case. I personally think he's giving the players too much credit. I think the players just went up for it. They didn't win their personal battles. They didn't sort themselves out on the pitch. Like I said, I don't think you need a coach to coach that game. I'm not going to lie. I think that requires the experienced players on the team. Especially after, the first goal can happen. You're playing against a League 2 outfit. Anytime United comes to town, players, they become 10 foot taller. Players put in their best performance they've ever put in because United's badge, history, legacy is, legendary. So players want to put in a good performance. They want to put themselves in a shop window, whatever, pride, whatever it may be, right? So players tend to kind of play out their skins against us. It happens all the time. So maybe the first goal you can excuse for them just being more up for it than you are, being highly wound up. Some of their players have probably been looking at this game since it got fucking announced, whenever it was last year sometime. They've been counting down the days. They came out the blocks flying. So you can excuse the first goal. But what should happen after the first goal is that the experienced players should be like, hey, everyone settle down, take a fucking deep breath, and let's start winning our individual battles. Let's start fucking applying pressure. Let's start getting serious. It shouldn't be up to the coaches. There shouldn't be no sub. There shouldn't be no fucking tactical formation change. The players on that pitch should be able to sort themselves out and be able to address what needs to be addressed to get back to competing with Grimsby. And then, of course, eventually taking advantage and scoring. That didn't happen. That is a really concerning part for me. I don't think it's because they went to get Ruben Amorim out. I think because these players are shit stains. Which goes back to what I said previously last season. I was one of the only fans, I feel like, on social media who was very much saying that I think the 15th position last season was more a reflection of the players than the manager. Why? Because I think the players, they threw the towel in. The players didn't have the stomach for the fight. The players didn't have the stomach for the fucking fight. And I think if that's the case, in my personal opinion, I don't know much about football. I'm not an expert. I don't own a club. I'm just a regular guy talking out of his fucking ass. But I honestly think if your players finish 15th in the season and you're a club of the level of United, you have to get rid of those players. Those players are no good. You have to get rid of them. If it means terminating contracts, if it means fucking icing them out, you have to get rid of them because they stink. You can't rehabilitate players that finish 15th for United. You can't. I don't think so. Because if they finish 15th for United and they're still at the club, I get why they don't give a fuck. Because what's going to happen to them? They finish 15th. If you finish 15th, you should be like fearing for your job. Their job wasn't taken away from them. They're still playing for a great club. They still have Man United in their bio. So I think that was a major mistake the club made, was not having a fucking clean sweep and getting rid of a bunch of players and starting again just to send a message. Just to send a message. And that would have definitely made the players play this season with like, okay, cool. I have to be on it because they signed my man and they got rid of him straight away because they finished 15th. That didn't happen. Here we are. Amorim has failed to win any... Now, this for me is the most concerning part. Again, players aside. Amorim has failed to win any of Manchester United's 3 matches this season, despite signing a front line of Benjamin Sesko, Mateus Cunha, Brian Mbeumo, who all featured in the tie with the pressure growing ahead of the Premier League game against Burnley. Now, the pressure just keeps mounting. Every game, there's more pressure. Now, the game against Burnley is fucking high stakes. When the season started, no one thought it was a big issue. Now, the problem with this is that we probably had to win. We probably had to win those 3 matches by hook or crook. Finishing 15th last season, you have to win your first 3 games. Even if you scumbag them, you have to win. You have no margin for error. You can't even draw. You can't even draw. That's how cutthroat, high pressure, high stakes it is at United. And the fact that we're now sitting here with like 1 loss, 1 draw, a loss in the League Cup, most likely going to get battered by Burnley. It's peak. It's peak. I'm not going to lie. It's fucking peak. I'm shocked, he said, Ruben Amorim. We are in the moment when we make a lot of changes. We try to fight a lot of things. But then when we have these moments, we need to show up. If we don't show up, you can feel something has to change, and you are not going to change 22 players. But I want us to change 11. Okay, we're not going to change 22 players. I get it. But can we change 11? Can we change 10? Is that possible? Can we change 9? Why is United the only club in the world that doesn't seem to be able to get rid of players like Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes? Why can't we just get rid of... Why is Rashford still on loan and not sold? Why is Sancho still at the club? Anthony, if you don't want him anymore. Malasha's still there. The bomb squad in general. Like, why can't we get rid of these players and start again? I honestly think one of the things holding back managers at this club is not our transfers. It's the players already there. There's too many bad eggs already there. There's too many people with bad habits already there. They need to be thrown out and fresh players come in so you can create a new environment. You can create a new fucking feel around the club. But the club's not going to do that because the Glazers don't like spending money. Because to sell players, to terminate contracts costs money. And one thing the Glazers don't like doing is wasting money. So they'd rather force the manager to keep playing people like Shaw, keep playing people like Maguire, keep playing people like fucking Mason Mount in the hopes that it turns around because they don't want to sell or ice them out because it would mean paying them a bunch of money for not doing anything in return. So we're kind of fucked. We are kind of fucking fucked. Andre Onana, making his first appearance this season, was at fault for both Grimsby goals, allowing Charles Vernon 22nd strike to go through him at the near post before missing a punch on the cross which gave Tyrrell Warren a tap-in 8 minutes later. By the way, that Tyrrell Warren kid for Grimsby is one of Mark Rashford's best friends. That Tyrrell Warren kid is one of Marcus Rashford's best friends. And he most likely scored a goal that might spell the end of Ruben Amorim's fucking reign. Football is poetic. But Amorim stressed the goalkeeper was the only issue at Bundell Park. With all due respect, he says, when you play against a 4th division team, he didn't even know their name, bro. When he was doing the interview, you could tell he blanked out their name. He didn't even know their name of the club. I watched the full post-match press conference or like interview on the side of the pitch. When he was saying this comment, he kind of blanked at the name. He didn't even remember the name of the club. That's how low level they are. And they fucking bullied us across the park. Big up Grimsby Town. They bullied us across the fucking park. Bullied us. It's the environment. It's the way we face competition. We know that in the moment, we pay attention to everything. It's massive, every detail. We showed that performance today. My players spoke for me really loud. It doesn't matter if we recover from 2-0 down or not. It's the signs the team made during the game, the beginning. Exactly what I was saying in the fucking social media. On Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, by the way. At Agostino Zinga. But I was saying on social, because I saw some fans getting giddy. Overly celebrating fucking Mbeumo's goal. Overly celebrating Harry Maguire's goal. I was like, brother and sisters, we are getting beaten by Grimsby. If we go through, I don't care. This performance is bad. The fact that we have to pull out these Hail Marys, the fact that we have to sub on these players is a fucking L in the first place. Don't celebrate this. This is not something to get giddy about. So I'm happy we lost because those fans are the worst type of fans. Every time we win, there's no problem. When we lose, they want to start talking. Nah, I'm here when we win. I recognize bad things going on at this club, even when we're winning. Even when we're putting fucking points on the scoreboard. Even when we're going up in the league table. You can analyze and say, you know what? This isn't sustainable. This doesn't look good. I predict something's going to go wrong in the future. And if you say it, you're a fucking negative person. Have some fun. Relax. Take it easy. Things come in cycles. Nah, bitch. We're in a cycle of failure. That's what we're in. We're in a fucking cycle of failure. As it sees it. Look at that. Look at that. But all that being said about the players, transfers, I partially mentioned what I mentioned about ownership. That win percentage is just unforgivable, isn't it? That win percentage that Ruben Amorim has here of 35.6% is worse than Erik ten Hag, who I absolutely hated. It's worse than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who I absolutely hated. It's worse than Jose Mourinho, who towards the end I absolutely hated. So as much as I like Ruben Amorim, as much as I think he's going to be a successful coach wherever else he goes, that win percentage is unforgivable. 35.6% is crazy. When Ollie and Woodman were getting 50, 70% and shit. This is diabolical that he has a win percentage of 35%. But again, I have to say, in his defense, which club decides to hire a manager mid-season, I think in November he kind of came to the club, not sign any players for him apart from Dorgu and Heaven, who are not his signings. They're club signings anyway, in January. Knowing full well he plays a very precise style of football, a very precise formation. He needs very precise and specific players. You don't sign the players, but then you get surprised when we end up 15th. That's what I don't get. That's why it's still boggling my mind. Yes, you can say shit. Tell me he's a shit manager. Okay. He's not fucking Premier League level. Okay. But the way he coaches, he needs certain players. Why would you pay out his contract? Why would you pay Sporting Lisbon a compensation fee in November? Why would you fire Erik ten Hag mid-season? Get an interim in fucking mid-season in Ruben Lorde. Then get rid of him. Then bring Amorim in. All the fanfare about him being the manager and the poet and the Portuguese league and Sporting. All this fucking media shit. And then not give him the players he needs to make us successful. I don't get it. So in a way, he's unforgivable and he has to answer for this. And if he gets fired for this, it's all on him. But at the same token, you're giving him, Aiden Heaven and Patrick Dorgu in January and saying that's enough for you. I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. I personally do not think so. But I could be mistaken. Let's see how it plays out in the future. But it's not looking good, bro. It's not looking good. Me personally, I wouldn't be against us finishing in a relegation zone. Not gonna lie. I wouldn't be against it. I'm all for it, man. Let us finish in a relegation zone. Let us get relegated this season. Let us completely reset as a club and then start again. That might be the only way to save this club, honestly. Because, in my opinion, every time we win something, bootlickers, Glazer apologists, give it time merchants come out and say, see. They only really respond when we're actually failing properly. But I think a lot of people still think last season was a fluke. Or last season was an aberration. So if that's the case, I am hoping at the very least, at the very minimum, we finish outside the top 10 this season. So that those fans who think last season was a complete shock and we're too big to finish 50. Okay, cool. I hope this season we finish outside the top 10 so people can know exactly where we actually are we are. Because as a club, that's where we are. That's where we belong to be. And we're not 15th because of Amorim. We're not in that position because of him alone. We're there because of years and years of neglect. Years of mismanaging. Years of spending too much. Years and years of it. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. And you know what I also thought as well, watching that game? I thought to myself, there's been games, right? There's been League Cup games where we've played that exact same way where we went through. There's been League Cup games where we've played that exact same way, but we went through. This particular time, it didn't work. Because you know why? We don't have individual brilliance anymore. It's all gone. Back in there, we had individual brilliance. We could be saved by a Cavani. We could be saved by a Rashford. We could be saved by a fucking Rooney at his pump. Ronaldo. Rashford. Sancho. Whoever it is. Pogba. We had all these individual moments, brilliance in our team of shit players that could just decide games for us. Now we don't have those caliber of players anymore. Now we are seeing the true United and where we actually are. So I'm happy that this is happening. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy. I'm black pill. When it comes to United, I'm black pill. I want us to fucking suffer. I want us to go down to every fucking league so that we can get rid of these fucking parasites. These Glazers who are fucking destroying my club from the inside out. Because they're the common denominator, personally, I think. I think throughout the years of, degradation and, decay and defeat and sadness and breaking of hearts across the country, across the world, the common denominator has been the Glazer ownership. No one can deny that. The common denominator has been us being owned by the Glazers. So until we get rid of those guys, we're fucked. And my prediction still remains. I think my prediction is, we will never win a major trophy again. Major trophy being the FA Cup, the Champions League, the Premier League. I don't think we'll win a major trophy again with the Glazers as owners. We will never win a major trophy again with the Glazers as owners. The only time we will do that with the Glazers owners is if we somehow get lucky and we find Saf reincarnated. We find a Saf regen. I don't know if that's like, imagine if we just get lucky one day and we just stumble across some coach who's fucking coaching fucking Kilmarnock, St. Mirren, who's in a J League, who's managing in a fucking Brazilian league or something. If we happen to find some crazy coach who just happens to be like Sir Alex Ferguson and is able to get the best out of shit players. But unless that happens, we are fucked with the Glazers owners. But that doesn't excuse Amorim, 35.6% win percentage. I think he should be fired for that alone. That doesn't fucking, insulate the players or the fans and their fucking crazy expectations of this club and the signings and the players that played. But Jesus Christ, man. We're in for a rough fucking ride this season. And I hope now, all those fans that used to say United fans are glory hunters, you can't say that anymore. No one can ever say United are glory hunters. United fans, no one can ever accuse United fans of being glory hunters because Jesus Christ, we are going through it, man. We are fucking going through it. And there's not going to be any glory for this club, like, maybe in the next 10 years. Because it's not really up to us, is it? If you think about it. Yes, we're shit, but it's not really up to us whether or not we get back to where we want to get back to, because we're trying to get back where we're getting back to, but other clubs are like pulling away. Your Liverpools, your Arsenals, your Man Cities, your Chelseas, they are pulling away. Newcastle are coming up. Spurs look serious with Thomas Frank there. Bournemouth are becoming the new Wolves and the bogey team. Brighton do bits and pieces. So yes, we have to figure out ourselves to get back where we think we belong, quote unquote. But the other teams are increasing the gap. They're increasing the fucking gap. Like, how far away are we from the top 6? In terms of quality, in terms of form. Super far away. Let alone the fucking winning the title, competing for the title. So we probably got another 10 years of another rebuild. But some fans online are trying to make you think if we sign Mbappe, if we sign Beleba, suddenly we're finishing fucking top 10. Come on, man. Come on, man. Give your fucking head a wobble, man. Give your fucking head a fucking wobble if you don't mind. Please. Please, please, please. Talking about giving your head a wobble. Talking about giving your head a fucking wobble. Have you guys seen this? Taylor Swift got engaged. Yes, you heard. Taylor Swift got engaged to a NFL, American football sweetheart, Travis Kelce. They finally tied the knot. And yeah, it feels like the most least organic thing I've seen in my entire life. But it's still really beautiful in its own way. You know? It feels very rehearsed. It feels very intentional. It feels very put together. It feels very planned. Right? It feels like it's one of those rare engagements where both people are aware it's happening. You know, usually with engagements, like, you know, the wife to be super surprised. It come out of the blue. You know, there's a intention for it to be a surprise when it comes to an engagement. I think this is one of those engagements where Travis Kelce had to like contact Taylor Swift's fucking assistant. Had to contact Taylor Swift's management company. Had to contact Taylor Swift's fucking publishers. You know, whatever, you know. He had to go through some legal channels before he could actually officially fucking propose to her, which made her aware of it, hence kind of getting rid of the fucking surprise. But regardless of it, as much as I don't love love for myself, as much as I don't care about marriage for myself, as much as I don't really care about kids for myself, I do have this weird thing where when I go to weddings, which I've only been to a couple in the last few years, I am sobbing. When I go to weddings, if you ever invite me to your wedding, dear listener, I don't even fucking know you. If you invite me to your wedding and I'm sitting in there, I'm crying like a fucking baby. So as much as I don't like weddings for myself, marriage for myself, kids for myself, I fucking love seeing people in love. Weirdly enough. That's one of my little weird soft spots I have. Maybe it's because I grew up on fucking Disney cartoons and shit. But seeing people in love, seeing people in that fucking holy matrimony, seeing people locked in that way, especially because I live a life, you know, that's not like this, you know? Seeing people locked in that way is like, wow. You know? Like, shit, man. They've made, like, the ultimate decision. Like, look at them in love. Look at them synced up. Look at them on a safe fucking wavelength. Because even I, right? I'm not the biggest Taylor Swift fan. I'm not the biggest watcher of the NFL or fan of Travis Kelce's. But even I've noticed over the last couple of years that Travis Kelce has kind of changed his personality. Have you guys noticed that? Have you guys noticed he's kind of changed? Like, I feel like Travis Kelce's kind of, I wouldn't say he's neutered himself, but he seems a lot more like, you know, I don't know. But I guess what happens when you're in love, he's kind of like matched her vibe a little bit. He's not like, even his look, obviously he's different. He definitely looks more Caucasian now, but his energy is different. Like, he doesn't, you know, he kind of carries himself in a different way, which I think you're meant to do when you're really in sync with your person, when you're really in sync with your wife to be. You're meant to be in that kind of way. You're meant to be her biggest supporter, her biggest fan, but you're also meant to be like, you know, people, when you're really locked in with somebody, people should sometimes mistaken that you think they think you're siblings. As weird as that may sound. When you're really in love, when you're really locked in with somebody, people should be looking from the outside and thinking, oh, are you guys related? You know what I mean? Or you should even have the same mannerisms, have the same speech pattern. You know what I mean? Like, it should be that's how locked in you should be. So it's kind of sick to see him like be in that kind of way. So big up him for that. The pictures look fucking sick, right? They took this really, you know, the captions fucking cringe as hell, don't get me wrong. Your English teacher and your gym teacher are getting married, like, gross. And imagine as well, if you read Taz's lyrics, you'd imagine, like, English teacher, you know, you're pushing it, babe. But still, beautiful pictures, you know, seeing them all loved up and shit. The engagement ring is blonks, right? The engagement ring is fucking heavy. Don't get me wrong, it's not as heavy as fucking Georgina, right? Ronaldo's girl. Her ring was fucking brazy, but it's still a beautiful, 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 beautiful engagement ring there. I'm not sure why he didn't get one, to be honest. I don't know why. Why don't men get engagement rings, by the way? Huh? Can someone explain that? Why don't men get engagement rings? Why don't men get engagement rings? Women get all the engagement rings. Women get the weddings. Women get all this fucking big shit. Why don't men get what? Where's my ring? Huh? Motherfuckers. Yeah, so really beautiful pictures, really nice things to see there. So congratulations to them. I'm assuming the wedding is going to be a fucking bonanza, right? I'm assuming the wedding is going to be fucking a bonanza. I can just imagine the amount of people that are going to be performing there, the fucking opulence of it, the showness of it. But the rollout of this engagement is kind of nasty, isn't it? I'm not going to lie. Being a celebrity is kind of wild because I feel like this has been a long time coming. Ever since she appeared on the fucking field, ever since they started dating, ever since her first appearance on Travis Kelce's podcast, the album announcement, this has all felt like it's a part of the rollout. This wedding or this engagement announcement feels like it was noted on somebody's fucking content calendar. Some social marketing person, growth hacking person, head of marketing person definitely has this announcement on their fucking content calendar, for sure. That's the only gross bit about it. It feels very rehearsed, very manufactured. But again, with a celebrity level of Taylor Swift, you kind of have to do that. Do you know what I mean? Because she's a fucking megastar. For whatever reason as well, by the way, which also doesn't make sense to me. I've done the thing that I think most of you guys have done there, where I spent some time listening to her fucking discography, and I just couldn't get it, man. I just don't get it. I get it, but I don't get it. I don't get it because it sounds terrible objectively. I listened to every single one of her albums 1 year. I think it was during COVID, actually. I think it was during COVID. I went through her entire discography, and I couldn't find not one slap, all fucking dog shit. But she's super fucking huge. This is before I think the Eras tour as well. That was, you know, super, super well received and amazing kind of sales and shit. But one thing that also made me feel like when I listened to Taylor Swift's music was that I think Taylor Swift being as mediocre as she is, but also being an incredibly big star, I think is more a reflection of the era we live in, you know, of the times we live in. Like the most mediocre, mundane of shit is being kind of lifted up onto a platform that it probably should never be on, you know? So it's not necessarily her fault. She's just a victim of her time that she's living in. I think if she lived in another era, people wouldn't care about her as much. But I feel like nowadays, because there's a dearth of anything available, any kind of stars, people kind of lift up the most mediocre of shit. And if we're honest, if she wasn't around, there'd be no one to take her place anyway. She kind of fills a particular need, a particular niche. The fans that like her because of particular. It's like a Lorde type of thing. You might not like it, Adele, I might not like it, but people like it for what they actually do. And without them, you know, music would be far worse for it, fandom will be far worse for it. But I don't know. You listen to it honestly. If you go into Taylor Swift with an open mind like I do, you know, maybe being a DJ, I kind of always keep my ear open to everything. I listen to all genres. You know, I'm one of those kind of annoying people. But I tried, man. I really fucking tried. And everything sounds terrible. Everything sounds fucking terrible. Everything sounds like fucking Urban Outfitters music, you know? Top Shop music. You get me? Like Subway music. You know, no, forget Subway music. Taylor Swift music sounds like shit you would hear when you're ordering a footlong in Subway. I swear to God. Garbage shit, but she's become incredibly successful for it. One thing that I've always thought that's interesting about her, I don't know if I'm off on this, but I have a feeling Taylor's going to go through one of those like Ellen moments. I feel like she presents herself as, I wouldn't say a girl's girl, but she comes across as kind, as well-mannered, as personable, as loving and shit. I think she's the type of artist that says, I love you to her fans. And that was maybe because I make content myself, but I think there's something very malicious, there's something very malevolent, there's something very skullduggery, there's something very conniving, there's something very manipulative about people, artists, whatever, who are very loose and fast with the I love you guys. You know? That weird encouragement of the parasocial shit, you know? That it's like, it's one thing to kind of dabble in it a little bit for the likes and the views, but that kind of like trying to act like you are their friend when you're not, trying to act like you give a shit about them when you really don't, trying to make it seem like you're just the girl next door when you're the girl in the fucking ivory tower. I feel like she's gonna have an Ella moment. I don't think the way that she presents herself in public is how she really is in private. I think this woman's a tyrant. I think, because again, figure the business that she runs. Figure the money that she generates. I don't think this is the kind of lady that, you know, I don't think this kind of lady that's kind behind the scenes. I just don't think so. I think there's a real bully. There's a real tyrant there. People give women like Gwyneth Paltrow a lot of stick. But I think she's probably worse than Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow's just a bit weird, isn't it? Gwyneth Paltrow's just like, I don't know. What's she? Female Joe Rogan. I think Taylor Swift is going to have a moment where her career maybe comes tumbling down when people realize that she's really mean. Really mean. There's something about it. But she's a good actor because she puts on a very kind face. She got soft features. She's very softly spoken. She cries when she gets her masters back, you know? But I think there's something very nasty there. Not sure what it is. Not sure if it's true. I could be talking out my ass. But I think Taylor Swift is evil. I think Taylor Swift is worse than Benjamin Netanyahu. That's why I said it. I think Taylor Swift is worse than Azalea Banks. I think Taylor Swift is worse than DDG. There, I said it. I think she's the fucking worst. So I think you're going to hear a lot of bad shit about her coming up very soon. You just need to keep your ear open. And when it happens, please give me some credit. Please give me some credit. So moving on, I also wanted to touch upon a little bit regarding the Ibiza Final Boss. Because I've been wondering, wagwan with my guy, the Ibiza Final Boss. It's been a couple of weeks, maybe a month now since he went viral. He's been fucking winning in life. He's been living a good life. He's been flying all over the place. I've been seeing him in certain places. And I've been wondering, like, how long does that 5 minutes of fame actually last? Because I feel like this kid, so far from what I've seen of him, it doesn't seem like he's overly rinsing it. He's getting what he can out of it, but I don't think he's going to go down the Bevo route. I don't think he's going to go down the Little Man route. I don't think he's going to go down the Lily Phillips or the whatever. I feel like he's going to enjoy what he can get out of it and then kind of keep it pushing, which I think is the right way to go about doing things. But I just wanted to see what he's been up to since he went fucking viral. So this is his profile. The Ibiza Final Boss. His actual name is Jack K. So big up Jack K. I think he's from Newcastle. The accent's fucking terrible. One thing that we know so far though is that he's driving a Range Rover. And if you know anything about England, if you know anything about fucking up north people, if you know anything about English people in general, myself included, the pinnacle of whips in this country is Range Rover Sports. I think the equivalent in the US is a Lamborghini Uruses with certain like urban types, right? or people that from an urban background, urban surroundings, right? People who like hip hop music, let's say. But in general, I think if you're from here, the car that you kind of aspire to get, which is weird because we all live, for the most part, you live in the city. If you live in Newcastle, maybe you might live in a place where there's fucking, you know, places that you can drive your car in the mud. But for the most part, if you live in the UK and you have aspirations to drive in a fucking Range Rover Sport, you're not driving it anywhere where you're going to get the most out of Land Rover Sport. You're driving it, you know, to pick up your kids, do the school run, get some groceries. At most, go play Sunday League. But you're not really using it to an extent. But I love the fact that he has it anyway. So big up Ibiza Final Boss for getting a Range Rover Sport. That's a good development. Right? That's fucking brilliant, right? That's the dream, by the way. Being able to pop on the tunes in your fucking new reg Range Rover, right? I'm not sure if it's the Range Rover Sport. It could be that Range Rover, that Elise, whatever one is called. Whichever it is, he's got a brand new car. He's got that weird, by the way, that tracksuit, right? I'm pretty sure it's a Nike Tech Fleece, but someone needs to fucking let me know why everyone's wearing this fucking Nike Tech Fleece. It looks like a Deliveroo jacket. It's a weird style. It's a weird color. Like the color blocking or the color, you know, in general, legitimately looks like you're a Deliveroo driver. I don't get why that's so popular. I see a lot of kids, honestly. I saw pictures of Creamfields. I saw pictures and clips from Reading, the Leeds Festival. All the type of kids that would go to place that he likes to go to. The tech house kids. They love that. I've seen so many people wear that exact tracksuit. I'm wondering, like, why do you look like a Deliveroo driver? It's weird because if you went to those raves wearing a Deliveroo outfit, you get laughed out of the park, right? No pun intended. But if you go to the rave with a Nike one with the same colors, everyone thinks you're cool. Weird, isn't it? But yeah, big up Jack K for that one. Next post. This is him hanging out with Prosper, right? Set was unbelievable. So this is a great thing, by the way. He's getting invited, right, to all these places. He's getting backstage passes, VIP, hanging out in a DJ booth. I saw him hanging out with Solomon. I thought the Solomon one was a little bit cringe because it looked like he was overly talking to Solomon. But it also looked like Solomon was kind of like confused what's going on, like, you know? Solomon was a little bit, but I think he was doing a little bit too much with Solomon behind the booth. You probably need to chill out. But again, I've been there before. Like, you know, I'm the major proponent of like not encouraging VIP, the VIPization of the DJ booth. I fucking hate it. I've always said it before. I hate how that's become the new fucking VIP space, the new green room, the new cool club for the cool kids, and everyone's kind of obsessed with getting back there and not fucking enjoying themselves on the dance floor. But having been there, I know when you're in there, you get gassed and you sometimes act a little bit too excited and you sometimes do stuff that you're not meant to do. So I kind of give him, you know, I'll give him a bly. But I think that Solomon clip was a little bit cringe, but I still like he's getting invited to places. I love that because in general, he went viral because he was having a fucking blast on the dance floor. He didn't go viral because he was fucking trying to suck people's dicks in the DJ booth. He didn't go viral because he was trying to fucking get some DJ's attention. You know what I mean? He went viral because he was having fun on the dance floor. That's where you're meant to be. That's where the club is at. Not the fucking VIP tables, not the fucking DJ booth, not the green rooms. The fun is on the dance floor. And secondly, the other bit of fun in clubs is the smoking area. People are obsessed with going green rooms and being VIP. Fuck all that shit. You make some of your best friends. You make some of your best connections. You have some of the best times, best stories, best moments and lows being on the dance floor and being in a fucking smoking area. Nowhere else, in my opinion. But again, I could be wrong. But big up Prosper for bringing him in. Another clip of him with the legend that is Patrick Topin. Big up Patrick Topin. He's definitely doing bits and pieces as well. I love him as well for pushing the sobriety thing in dance music, which has been fucking class and brilliant. I think he's also from fucking Newcastle too, if I'm not mistaken. I think Patrick Topin is also from Newcastle. So for this Ibiza Final Boss, this is probably a big moment because he probably looks up to Patrick Topin. That's his guy, hero, and that he might come from the same area, background, whatever. But them being, you know, them being two Geordies, fucking big look. So I fucking love that. That was at Creamfields. He's also been spotted with Josh Baker. Big up Josh Baker. Big on YouTube, by the way. One of the few DJs I actually like watching his content on YouTube. I think DJ content on YouTube is a little bit cringy and weird with the vlogs and shit. But this Josh Baker guy is good. And he's actually a good DJ and a good producer. So big up Josh Baker for getting him involved and co-signing the kid, taking a picture with fucking the Ibiza Final Boss. We love to see it. There's also another picture here with Patrick Topin and Ketama behind the scenes here. It looks like at the fucking Creamfields also. So he's hanging around with all the big DJs. There's a clip of him again. I think it's at Creamfields too. Again, look at that smile. Look at that smile. Look at that genuine fucking smile. Sometimes I feel like the wrong people in social media could become famous, but there are some rare moments, some rare occasions where the right people become famous. Guys with a good heart, guys just go out, have some fun, in it for the fucking vibes, not on this clout chasing thing. I hope he also doesn't try and become a DJ. Just be happy just to be about, out and about, be a face people recognize. Because I think we miss that in the scene nowadays. I feel like everyone that I kind of follow, right, or on social, for lack of a better term, again, please forgive me, those of you that might be offended by this, but I feel like everyone that I follow that's kind of trying to occupy that like dark rave influencer, techno influencer space, they eventually try and become a DJ. Which is annoying personally. I feel like there's too many of DJs anyway, right? What we probably need is more clubs. What we probably need is maybe more labels, maybe more fucking live stream spaces, maybe more booking agencies, maybe more producers, event organizers, you know, whatever. We need more of that. We don't really need more DJs, really. Or maybe we just need more vibes people on the dance floor. You know what I mean? So when you go to certain raves, you know, okay, you're going to see X. Because I miss that as well. I miss seeing certain regulars on dance floors. But you don't really see that anymore, innit? So I love when there's like regulars, and I love when you see somebody and you already know what time it is. So I think some of you guys will know what I'm saying. You see he or she like, yeah, what's up, man? And you know you're about to have a good time, right? Because they're there. Cool. They're on it. Baggies out, drinks in. Let's get to it. So I hope he's okay with just being a personality and being around. You might catch him in a booth. You might catch him on a dance floor. You might bump into him at a fucking bar, getting a fucking Jägermeister shot. You get me? I love all that. I hope that's the vibe. But it's a good thing that he kind of, you know, has been embraced by the scene, and everyone's kind of, you know, putting their arm around him because, like I said in the beginning, he got famous, you know, to some degree because he's on a dance floor, not because he was fucking sucking dick, trying to get on guest lists and shit. He got famous for being on a dance floor, so I hope that encourages more people to be on the dance floor too. There, and then the latest clip of him is him in the gym doing a big bench press. So back to work, you know? And this, I think, is a great place to kind of leave it. This is an opportunity to say, you need to earn your nights out. And it's something that I've kind of gone back to now. Something that I already was on, but I kind of fell off the wagon with and, you know, got a little bit lackadaisical with. But now I'm kind of back on it. You have to earn your right to get fucked up. You have to kind of earn your right to get fucking loose and goosey. Earn your right to a baggie. You can't just be having them all the time and indulging yourself. You got to kind of work up to it. And one of the bits of working up to it is toiling away at your dead-end job. Toiling away at your fucking shitty place of employment. Toiling away at the gym. Toiling away with your personal project. Whatever you're fucking doing, toiling away, grafting. You know what I mean? Graveyard shifts, digging fucking ditches and shit. And then when the time comes to Jubilee, when the time comes to celebrate, when the time comes to fucking, you know, twiddle your fucking thumbs and shake your fucking hips and shit, then you get to do it. And you get to do it in big style. So big up fucking the Ibiza Final Boss. It's great to see him out and about doing his ting. It's great to see him out and about doing his blood clot ting. Talking about tings, actually, let me quickly check out Creamfields. Because I saw some clips from Creamfields, and again, I have no desire to go Creamfields. Don't care about Creamfields. But this year, maybe because I didn't really go out to a lot of places this year in general, the FOMO was real. Some of the clips that I saw of people performing, some of the fun that I see people having, woo! The FOMO and shit was real this year. Honestly, the FOMO and shit was real. It looks super fucking fun over there. Let's play some clips. Actually, let's see what clips we can play. I love how all the top clips involve just girls, right? If you go to the location geotag on Instagram, all the top clips of fucking Creamfields involve fucking females, you know? Like, look, ladies sat in tents, you know? 22 hours ago. Got creamed in cream. Well, okay. Fair play. Okay, that's why. Who the hell is this lady? Big up. Was that Belle Olivia? Got creamed in my Creamfields tent. Video out tonight on my you-know-where. So girls are going to Creamfields, paying a ticket to go to a festival, putting up a tent on the festival to film OnlyFans content in their tent.
and then sell that content on OnlyFans. Women in tech, man. Women in fucking tech. Oh, wow. There's a DJ with a wheelchair. Big up Jack Smith DJ. Creamfields, you were next level. Massive love to everyone who came out to support. Forever grateful to play Cream. Big up this person, Jake Smith DJ. Love to see it. Love to see it. Look at the accessibilities. Look at the accessibilities. Yo, big up him, big up him. It's a bit empty, the tent, but you know, that's how you work. That's how you do your thing. You got slowly but surely work your way up to certain places. And you can see as the slides, to be fair, look, as the slides go by, you can tell the tent kind of fills up a little bit. You know, it kind of fills up a little bit. But yeah, big up Jack Smith DJ. Love to see it. Okay, another lady. Who's this? Matty Burt. Creamfields main stage debut, Bosch. Absolutely unreal. Debut on Sunday, early afternoon slot. Let's hear what he has to say. So I was thinking, when I watched some of these clips, right, that I saw from Creamfields, I think the reason why I really liked some of these clips, and I was getting a lot of FOMO, even though I'm not really into the music, I'm not really into the scene at all, was that you can see people having a lot of genuine fun. You don't necessarily see that a lot of festivals. A lot of people are going to festivals for their names or whatever. I felt like people are going to Creamfields, and I don't know, maybe it's just my own impression, but I feel like most people didn't even know who was fucking playing. You know, they might have had one or two people that they were looking forward to, but they generally just went because they trust Creamfields programming, and whoever was playing, they were going to have a good time with. But then I saw some of the production of the stages, of the tents. I saw some of the people's faces in the crowds. Like, they were going for it. They were having a fucking blast. And I think going forward now, I would much prefer, instead of seeing all these really crazy, highly produced videos, rounding up festivals and raves, fuck it. Just film or capture people having fun. Just try your best to somehow capture the vibe, because you can't really, to be fair. Raves and festivals are really hard to kind of capture the essence of what happened through a phone or through a video. It's just difficult to do. But if you can, maybe take some pictures and clips of people in the crowd going fucking nuts. Because for people like myself who don't really give a shit about certain, you know, scenes or genres, I'm gonna be intrigued. I'm gonna be like, oh shit, why are these people so happy? Where are they having all this fun at? Where could I have some of that fun? And then you're suddenly going to be intrigued to maybe check out Creamfields for a laugh, for a joke, and go yourself. So I think that's really important from what I've seen of the clips going around of Creamfields on social media. So big up the Creamfield team for all the clips I've seen. People sharing stuff as well. That's been pretty sick. I'm also curious to see, or just to know, what do you think this trend's about, by the way? What's this trend? I've seen a lot of girls that go to a lot of these raves or a lot of these festivals. The booty shorts with the cowboy boot, because I thought this booty shorts with the cowboy boots thing was to do with a Cowboy Car, right? Beyonce's album. But I'm seeing a lot of girls that go into festivals have, I guess, practicality wise, cowboy boots are like Wellington boots, isn't it? It's quite a good option to go to a festival with because you can fuck them up. They still look a bit cute and shit. But I've seen a ton of girls going to festivals with their, you know, their bum cheeks out and cowboy boots. That have been the classic thing that I've seen that people are doing with. To be fair, these girls that are sleeping in tents and they have their hair like this, fucking legends, by the way. But I've seen a lot of fucking cowboy boots. A lot of, oh look, what's his name? Paddy over there at Creamfields too. A bunch of other white people out there in Creamfields having a great time. You love to fucking see it. I think Creamfields, to be honest, is a very Caucasian friendly festival, to be completely honest. Not that that matters in general, but there's a lot of I don't think there's a lot of multiculturalism going on over there at Creamfields for the most part. Most of it is fucking Caucasian mandem, which is fair and nice and good. But yeah, it kind of is what it is. Laid back Luke was out there having a good time playing on his shitty Denon decks, I'm assuming, right? He loves Denon. Is it Denon? He's always playing on Den on Decks, and yeah, he's definitely playing on these shitty Den on Decks and shit. People on big screens having a fucking blast, right? You see everybody here. Oh, there is some blacks. Shit, there are some black people. I'll take it back. There are some blacks, but Arsenal fan blacks don't count, to be fair. If you support Arsenal and you're black, it doesn't count. I'm not gonna lie. Teletext stage. I saw a Teletext stage there, right? Is that a Teletext stage? What they play at Teletext? What did they play there? Okay, don't care. Big up Creamfields. Big up Blood Clot Creamfields. Continuing on. We also have to mention Keinemusik. Keinemusik did their coming home festival celebration in Berlin the other day, and that was maximum. That had to be maximum FOMO for me. That looks so fucking fun. That's the one thing that I'm really fucking jealous I didn't go to and couldn't have gone to. But that looked like a vibe. Riznik's return. Riznik was one of the OG members of Keinemusik. He left to kind of do his own thing, which kind of left the other three to kind of focus on it. But he came back, did a bunch of back-to-backs. I saw some of the clips from the after party. They look fucking sick. But what they did for their Berlin show at the Tempelhof Airport, the abandoned Tempelhof Airport, was fucking phenomenal. The amount of people they had out there was incredible. Production-wise, the money they put into it, again, you have to big them up, because I feel like every kind of like event I've seen them do from London all the way, I feel like they've increased their production. So I'm not too sure if they're kind of reinvesting whatever money they make from one festival, one party into the next one, but they keep on upping the ante, and you have to give these guys credit for doing so, because a lot of people will just like, you know, charge a bunch of money, which they did, by the way. They did charge quite a bunch of money for the tickets for this event. I think I saw tickets on Live Nation going for like 100 euros, 200 euros, crazy. But of course, on the day and before it happened, if you went on Cloud Music, the subreddit, if you went on the comments on Keinemusik crew, you would have saw a bunch of people selling their tickets last minute, which is kind of goes back to my thesis that I don't think you should ever buy tickets too far in advance. I feel like people are so flaky. People are so kind of wishy-washy that there's never an event really that's truly sold out. If you really want to go to an event, especially a rave, either you can buy a ticket on the day if you're sharp and you're attentive, or if you turn up to the rave itself in person with enough time, you can get let in, especially if you're by yourself. Someone's going to let you in. But this idea that things are completely sold out, shut up, man. You don't need to buy anything ahead of time, because the amount of tickets I saw available for resale from this thing, it was crazy. And I think people should have gone, but they just changed them at last minute. Anyway, regardless, Keinemusik crew put up some clips and some pictures of what went into the production of their Berlin show that I'm going to show you. This is one thing that they kind of showed, where they had these kind of like crates that they turned into pop-up shops. Kind of reminded me of pop-up Brixton and stuff, or Box Park, sorry, here in London. And they had different brands taking over the different crates and selling their wares. Obviously, they had fucking Rampers, electronic brand, Teal. They had a few other brands as well taking place. I thought it was a really neat idea, because I mentioned before that I really am perturbed why more raves, why more promotions, why more party collectives don't sell merch in their raves. Like, if you go to a lot of these parties like that do their own merch, they don't want having them available for you to just buy, you know? Again, I've never been to a Teletech rave, but I'd imagine if you go to a Teletech party, they'll probably have a small selection of teas, of like side bags, something in it, whistles, fucking fans available so you can purchase, because I'm not sure about you, but I'm not gonna trust the DJ to send me a package, you know? I'm not gonna give them 60 euros for a fucking side bag and wait 12 weeks. I'd rather go to a rave and see you play, and if you've got a t-shirt available, I'd buy it right there. Especially if you've got a chip and pin machine, I'm gonna buy it right there. But people aren't that, I don't know. People don't like doing that, because I guess if you're a DJ, logging all that fucking stuff around of you is fucking annoying. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, let's play the clip. Why is it not playing? Why is there no music here? Why is there no sound? It's not muted. It's not. But you can see anyway, there's a clip. It shows all the different brands. Civilist, a skateboard shop in Berlin, was there. Teal was there selling some wares. Public Possession, the label out of Germany. Misbehave, who've collaborated with a bunch of stuff with Keinemusik. A group called Fam, and Rockstar Games, actually, which is interesting. Rockstar Games are Keinemusik usually have a radio station thing that they do with Rockstar when it comes to Grand Prix Auto. But it's fucking great, man, honestly. Merch from all those brands available. So big up them. Let's see the next slide. You see all the different carts, the different containers. Keinemusik, Teal, Civilist, Misbehave, Public Possession, and of course Fam. Great to see. Let's see the next slides. This is Keinemusik Berlin. Let's go. Doors opening soon. It shows you a first slideshow featuring Anmi, Rampa, and Adam Port standing in front of the peace sign from Keinemusik. I think in every location that they've been at, they had a different sort of display, a different sort of, you know, whatever sign that they put at the DJ booth. The London one, they had a really cool London Underground sign that said Keinemusik in the middle. And then I guess in other locations, they changed it from a cloud to that airplane illustration. And in this particular show in Berlin, they had the cloud as a peace sign, which is pretty cool. You see everybody wearing their fucking yellow fluorescent vest there. Kind of reminded me of those two guys that did it together and spoke a bunch of weed. You see they're working on the construction of the sign itself. Guys turning up ahead of time to get it all sorted and shit. Adam Port, you know, inspecting some of the speakers with a very, very nice leopard print bag there. I'm not mad at that tote bag. If you know the idea on that, let me know in the comments. That's I guess that's the inflatable peace sign, I think. Yeah, that might be the inflatable peace sign. I'm not too sure. They've also put some graph on there as well on the peace sign. Crew Berlin KM there, a nice little one, a nice little hand style there. I'm not too mad at. A lot of the Keinemusik team. I wonder how many people actually work for Keinemusik, the label, all around. Actually keep it running behind the scenes, because I wonder if they got full-time employees or if it's just people working seasonally. Because it must be a big operation to keep this thing running. There was a coffee place, Kukuma Coffee there also, setting up all the fucking decks as well, all the equipment. I wonder as well how many people are actually out there. That might be another good thing to start. Instead of people going out there, and again, if you listen to my voice and you're interested in dance music shit, instead of being focused on trying to become a DJ, why not start your own fucking equipment hiring company? You know, buy a bunch of fucking decks and shit, and then fucking lend them out. You know what I mean? Lend them out or hire them out to fucking collectors and parties and shit, and charge a decent rate or whatever for equipment. That might be the way to go about doing things. That could be a good option to get yourself involved with certain things and shit. You see the ticket, the speaker there, the teal speaker speaks tickets, another teal bits and pieces as well. Next slide, some more clips and pictures as well for what happened over there during the Berlin session. The caption says, "Berlin, we are back home. This was a very emotional show for us. Thank you for all coming. What a boogie. A special thanks to our whole team and the people that work so hard to make this possible." And from what I've seen with the reviews, I've seen only great things. I feel like they had a couple of missteps in between, but I've heard only good things from the New York show, and I've heard only good things from this Berlin show. So it seems that they're learning from their mistakes. I also see less complaints in the comments. So even though they didn't publicly address some of the issues that happened in London, I feel like they took some of that feedback and have applied it into the different parties they've done. So you can only give them credit for doing so. Look at the amount of people. That's Tempelhof Airport, right? Over there in Berlin. That's abandoned now. I don't know if what's the long-term plan for that space overall. I know that there was one time they kind of changed it into like this kind of co-working party thing. Then I don't know where that's gone. I know, you know, just generally people tend to go out there and, you know, sit on the grass and sunbathe and whatever, picnic and shit. People use the tarmac where planes would land and shit, and they use that, or the runway, they'd use that for skating purposes and shit. I see a lot of people doing rollerblading content and shit over there. So it does get used, but it's a big space. So could you imagine just the amount of people that are there? Like, that's a huge amount of people. That looks like fucking, oh shit, look at what they've done. That's a bit naughty, isn't it? It's a bit it's segmented. I wonder why they did it that way. I guess it's crowd control. So this is a bird's eye view of the show. You see the stage here, right, with the peace sign. And it looks like, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like there's gaps in between. So there's a gap here. So maybe this front bit is a VIP area. So maybe in a weird way, it makes no sense, but maybe there's different tiers. So tickets. So if you have a ticket, so maybe the tickets to this section are more expensive than that section and that section. Fuck, you won't be able to see anything at the back, innit? You won't be able to see jack shit right back here. God damn. It's a bit tight, that. But there's some pictures as well of the guys behind the booth having a great time. They had a fun fair. There's a Ferris wheel there too. Raw Ted, man, that's fucking cool. I'm not gonna lie, that must have been such a fucking fun vibe. And there's the cloud. It's kind of covered in fucking fake cobwebs and mold and shit. I kind of like it. It looks kind of all weathered and shit as well. Because I think it rained, if I'm not mistaken. It did rain. There's Riznik, the legend. I think it also rained, so that probably helped with the vibes, I'd imagine. When it rains, people sometimes can get a little collective feeling and shit, and they really start going crazy under the fucking rainfall and whatnot. So that's great to see. Everyone going fucking nuts. Oh, Adam Porter's doing a new thing now. People are gonna copy that, I guess, because I feel like he's definitely the originator of that fucking silk head wrap over the hat, right? The babushka thing. A lot of people do that. Fans, even when they go to their shows, wear that sort of shit, which is really cringe and lame. I'd never wear it anyway, and I'm definitely not wearing it after I've seen people wearing that sort of stuff, personally. But I wonder if people are gonna start doing this now. What he's doing now, where he's got the silk scarf wrapped around, wrapped across his body as a sort of quasi bag thing going on there. So this will probably be the next thing people copy from him, because it feels like he's a bit of a trendsetter in that way. Personally, find your own shit, but hey, if you're going to copy someone, I guess copy him is not so bad. More pictures of the sign, more pictures from the crowd, more pictures of the sign, more pictures of everyone behind the booth having a blast. And yeah, Keinemusik fucking smashing it. Keinemusik absolutely smashing it. Do you have any video clips, actually? Let me see some video clips from there. Any video clips? There you go. Where the Keinemusik journey began back in January, back in 2009. So they started off at Tempelhof. Is that what you're trying to say?
Coming back to us, the way we dance and way we make love. I can't stop chasing.
This is pretty cool as well. It's shot in that old VCR, old digital camera thing that everyone's doing nowadays. I feel like it's all kind of played out. Like I feel like, lame, mediocre, non-famous people online are kind of doing it now, and it's kind of like losing its oomph, or just not doing it in a creative way in general. But it does look cool. You can't deny it. It's a bit, maybe there's too much nostalgia attached to it, because I used to film videos like that when I used to kind of use my digital cameras and shit. But it is kind of cool to see people kind of utilizing old digital cameras to film clips and video clips of themselves in raves and shit, to kind of give, the rave a certain type of texture and feeling. Not so sterile as a camera phone from your as a video taken from your iPhone and shit. Probably won't have as good audio. A lot of those cameras from back in the day, when you zoomed, the sound would cut out. I know that for back in the day, the digital cameras, if you tried to record video, every time you zoomed, the sound would cut out, and the microphones in general were just fucking garbage anyway. But I do like the texture of the videos myself.
Not for you, but to watch you dance, watch you move, watch you move. Yeah.
Yeah, big up them. I'm actually curious to see if I can go on the Tempelhof if I can go on the Tempelhof location thing, maybe I'll be able to see more clips. I want to see what it actually was like there on the ground for the people then, because it looked like a fucking vibe. This guy went there, right? Let's see what this guy did. Big up Tom. Let's see what Tom did out there. What's the vibe saying? Yeah, look at the speaker stacks, man. You see, they could. I wonder if you're just a bit humstrung in London. You're just humstrung in certain fucking places around the world, because look at the amount of speakers they had stacked up, suspended in the air, belting out the music at high volumes, because they don't really have the same type of like noise pollution laws that we have here in London that prevent certain festivals from putting on a good show, because you just have to keep the volume level at a certain fucking decibel, or the neighbors get pissed off, and then your fucking whole shit gets shut down. So a lot of it is not really the fault of the festivals, really. It's just the fault of the fucking shitty councils and stuff. But look at the amount of speakers, man. They went crazy, innit? So no wonder people were actually saying so many good things about this Berlin Keinemusik party. Big up Tom. Big up Tom. And you know what as well, right? For someone like myself that's been to a lot of like Berlin raves and stuff, like that's probably the reason why they're so successful too. Because obviously they originate, I think most of their members, I think they're all from Germany if I'm not mistaken, but they're kind of, all kind of, from what I remember anyway, I kind of associate with them with Berlin. Can you imagine when they were coming up, how refreshing it must have been to go to a rave? Maybe not. Maybe it's a bit. I'm misconstruing it, but it still must have been refreshing to go to a party and have people dressed this way. You know, there's not a lot of black on display here. You know, there's a lot of like light colors, a lot of bright colors, a lot of like, you know, just regular clothes. It's quite refreshing, honestly, because the first time you actually go to these places like Berlin and stuff, it kind of is a little bit. It's a little bit weird how often is how normalized it is people to wear black or to have fucking double sole shoes and fucking septum piercings and those weird fucking, you know, tattoos that look fucking awful and probably age really terribly and shit. Everyone looks the fucking same. So it must be a bit of a refresh, a bit refreshing to have people look this way and raving and partying, having a good time. Maybe, you know, like this girl out here, you know, smoking a joint instead of maybe having some pills and shit, having a good time. And it's still a bit of a vibe. So big up them. That's good. Oh shit, he's got a, is that an official jacket? Is that an official Keinemusik jacket? That's pretty cool. Big up the guy Tom. You got someone to film him from the back and he's got this jacket or this shirt that has like a cloud pattern all over it and a big black peace sign on the back. I ain't mad at that. 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 Yeah, that looked fucking vibey. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, as I was complaining about the gaps in the field and stuff, or the gaps where everyone's performing, the good thing about the gaps, it looks like, is that you could move around freely. It didn't look like everyone was crammed. It didn't look like it was oversold. You know, you could kind of spread out, find your corners. And because they had speakers literally suspended from the air, massive stacks all over the place, the sound would hit you in some point. So as much as it's weird that they kind of separated out everybody, you know, like there was kind of like tiers and groups and places there to sit at. The good thing is you can probably freely move around. Big up them. Let's see some more clips from people. I want to see some more stuff, a couple more bits here, then we can move on. That's not Keinemusik there. Is this from recently? Oh, it's November. Okay, cool. Let's go recent then. Let's do recent. Probably I should see a lot more recent on here. There's some more clips on here. Where are they? You see them. That's the Tom guy again. That's somebody else. What's this? This guy, what's this? Keinemusik playing my song, Break From It, in front of 65,000 people. That's pretty cool. I don't like this reaction thing, dude. I'm not going to lie. This is pretty cringe and GAY. Him having a split screen with himself kind of vibing along to it with no headphones and shit in a room. It kind of it doesn't look like he's listening to it at the same time. But yeah, I don't like the way he did this, but this is a pretty good achievement. So congratulations to him. But the way he's doing it is a bit cringe. Don't worry, good tune. Congratulations, guy, but don't do that ever again. No, please. Please, I beg of you. Let's see some other clips. Another person. This person, look at there, the blast over there at Keinemusik. Big up Laura. Big up Laura. It's nice. I wonder how it must feel for those guys to go through, because I feel like whenever I look at the crowd at Keinemusik rave, which I think is a real indication of if you're doing something right. Because I look at Tech Couture crowds, big up Tech Couture crew, big up Night Service crew, big up Club Air, which I've never been to, but I've seen it but I feel like the best parties usually have a crowd that reflects the people that put the party on. They look almost the same. So I wonder how weird it must feel for those guys to look at the crowd and see a bunch of guys in like snapbacks, a bunch of girls that look like they're girls associated with the label, a bunch of fucking silk head wraps and shit, silk scarves and shit, you know, a bunch of Keinemusik. It must be an odd feeling. See so many people kind of copying exactly what you look like. It's such, as a grown adult, it's like, more people here under the stage having a good time. Okay, so these people are really important there because they're right at the front. Whoever this person is, she's right at the front here, right next to the stage, next to these guys playing. Teal advertisements everywhere, by the way. It kind of, you know, as great as it is, it kind of looked like it turned into a bit of a branding exercise, didn't it? Right? They had all those containers with people selling stuff. Teal headphones that just launched. Actually, they look cool, but still, everyone's got the same headphones on. Teal insignia with speakers, advertisements all over the shop. Yeah, a lot of branding, a lot of merchandise, a lot of sales are made at this particular party, but I can't blame them for it. So he just wears the scarf around his over his shoulder like an accessory, like a weird tie thing. Okay, fair play. If I see you wearing your scarf like this, your silk scarf like this, I know you're copying Adam Port. And just think to yourself, just think in your own head as a grown-ass man, copying how another man dresses is fucking gay. I think copying how another man dresses is actually more gayer than actually having sex with another man. I swear to God. There's nothing wrong with that either, by the way. Big up my LGBTQ plus man then. But I swear to God, like, dressing up like a DJ is fucking bizarre. But hey, what do I know? More clips of people. Someone there filming, I guess. Picture photographer. A little Polaroid snap there. And more clips of them people playing and shit. Oh, hold on, actually. Was it filmed? Oh, look at somebody was okay. So maybe we're gonna get maybe in the future we're gonna get a full fucking set recording of what happened. Look at someone was filming the set on a proper professional camera. Sick. Okay, we might get that footage sometime in the future. This music is just so like, as much as I feel like I could say it's hypnotic, it just feels really boring, innit? But then I guess, to be honest, it's a natural reaction to like the hard techno 150 plus stuff that just doesn't seem like it's danceable. So I get there has to be some sort of middle ground, you know? You can't have everything, you know? I get it, but it just sounds so boring. Like it sounds like fucking Xanax house, you know? If that makes any sense. Oh, okay. So that was the thing that the thing that they were blowing up. That's pretty cool, actually. It's like this weird peace sign that's like free. It's like an inflatable tent thing. Okay. There we go. People in the back. Oh, he's obviously he's got the fucking that good Stussy jacket on. Fucking Adam Port, the cunt. I'd love to see more people on the stage there. More kids, people eating peace, having a good time. More. Let's see some more stuff on here. Cool. Everyone has a glove. There must have been an abundance of white pants out there, innit? The amount of white pants out there, the amount of people wearing white trousers at this Keinemusik Berlin thing, it must have been in the triple digits. It must have been in the triple, especially with the sun out. You know, guys, how we're like, innit? You only pull out the white pants when the suns are out and the holes are out. You get me? You get your metrosexual on. So the amount of pants must have been high, the white pants. Better. Fine. Okay, that's a vibe. I'm not gonna lie, that's a fucking vibe. That's a fucking vibe. Let's actually check out the Reddit. A lot of people did have some good reviews. How was the Berlin show? Somebody posted on the Cloud Music flipping subreddit. Absolutely unreal. These are the reviews that you want about your rave, innit? Absolutely unreal. I've seen them multiple times, and this is by far the best. Also rained earlier during the event, but cleared up for the set. Absolute all-timer. And if they do a show in Berlin again, it'll be an insta buy for me, regardless of where plans or where I'm living. Yep, that's a good. And honestly, I think that rain earlier on probably helped to galvanize the crowd. When you're at a rave, when you're at a festival, when it rains, it's a real kind of like cleanser of like who's really here for what, you know? Because all the fucking all the newbie fans, all the fucking clout shakers, all the fucking fame whores, they usually run away and hide. They usually run home because it's too wet. But the ones who are really about that life, they've got, you know, their socks are soaked, their clothes are fucking drenched, their underwear is fucking leaking. They're the ones that still hold it down. They know they're probably going to get sick the next day, but you just stay and it kind of galvanizes everybody because you know that, hey, we're actually locked in for the long term. We're actually locked in for the right reasons. Another one says, yeah, it rained at the beginning, but the show, the lights, everything was 10 out of 10. Music and venue and vibes were 10 out of 10. Really enjoyed it. I'm glad to see a lot of people dancing, not filming. But again, that probably goes to show the difference. And it's probably not their fault. They probably get blamed and they probably get a lot of stick, I think, unfairly Keinemusik for some of their shows. Like you'll see Ramper playing in a show. There's one legendary clip actually of Ramper playing a show. And he's sort of like having a good time behind the booth, like vibing. And there's just a row of kids just filming, recording him standing there, not dancing. That's not his fault. I think you go to certain places. You go to places like, you know, Mykonos in Greece. You go to Ibiza. You go to places like Miami and shit. People are going to be there stunting a little bit, there for the show, not there for having a good time. So, but you go to different places. People are not going to have their phones in their hands as much. I think London was a good example of that. And of course, Berlin, with it being the place where most people go to clubs where they don't even let you use your camera anyway. So you're probably used to not even taking out your phone. People are just going to be able to just have a good time and not really be bothered about posting shit. And which is also why you don't see a lot of clips on the Reddit. As much as people had a lot of fun, I didn't see that many clips on the Reddit. People just are too busy having fun, which is a good indication. Another person says, let me start with everything that was amazing. People were dancing all over the place. It was fun. However, I have to point out the tickets on stage were actually still very far from the DJ. Again, you shouldn't be going to a rave for a ticket to be closer to a DJ. Go to the rave to fucking for the rave. Go to the festival for the festival. Go to the party for the party. Like, honestly, as long as you can hear what they're playing, that's the main thing. If anything, a good thing would have been, probably a good thing, which probably cost a lot of money though. A good thing probably would have been, because of the size of the venue, because of the size of the place, they probably should have got some screens up. If I'm being a little bit nitpicky, they probably should have had a screen somewhere so you could have seen exactly what these was doing behind the stage. That would have been fucking sick to have seen, you know? Seeing the expression, the emotion, that would have been awesome to see. But I would assume getting a screen up at a rave, at a festival, is not that cheap. You're gonna have somebody run the screens and shit. It's probably gonna be super expensive, but I feel like that would have been the best way to go about things. Like have a screen up behind the booth so people can see exactly what's going on there. What's this? A live reaction of me hearing Keinemusik drop my track. When this happens in the crowd, what are you meant to do? Are you meant to turn around and tell people? Are you meant to make it really obvious that you made the tune? I feel like this is a little bit cringe. I'm not gonna lie. Like post a clip on your socials, keep it moving, but this wanting your friends to film a react, like how do you know they're gonna play it? Did they tell you beforehand? So you get your friend to film you like react, like come on man, this is very, very lame. I'm not gonna lie. I find this very, very lame, very corny, we shouldn't be co-signing this shit. I'm not encouraging this behavior, man. Like do your you know what I mean? Do your promotion in a dignified way, please, for the love of God. But then again, you know, the question needs to be said: is there a way to self-promote with any amount of dignity? You're just hoping somebody says, look, he's got his hands over his... I'm assuming that's the guy that made it, right? You're just hoping somebody says, oh, what is that? Is that yours? It's like, oh, lame, bro. Fucking lame. Dorky behavior. Yuck. But yeah, look at the kind of music, uniform. This girl on the left here looks a bit embarrassed, to be fair, to be wearing it. She saw herself in the reflection of the selfie camera, and you could tell she got a little bit embarrassed, you know? She got a little bit embarrassed. Because, you know, wearing that fucking, the kind of music uniform with the silk headscarf over the fucking hat, with the fucking glasses, honestly. Get your own personality, for the love of God. The only thing I'd say was that it was too far from the stage. I haven't found a way to reach the stage. It would have been a really bad experience. It's honestly better to be down on the dance floor than buying tickets on stage. Well, why do you buy it then, you dickhead? It was really good, not the best set, I would say. Still some unreleased bangers, but I enjoyed Amsterdam show last year more. It was a great show. The only thing that killed it a bit, the vibe, was the fact that they were creating a new experiment with the front row being a part of the backstage. It felt very unfair and disappointing. Yeah, because there was like 4 different parties going on, right? Again, like, not to nitpick, but I think that was the only thing they kind of did a misstep on. If you go back to the fucking Keinemusik page here, right, you can see that bird's eye view, right? Where's the bird's eye view? I think it's a good bird's eye. Oh no, I think it's over here, right? You could see that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that stage ticket that people I keep talking about is this bit here. That must be the stage ticket. So this bit right here. So that block. So if you bought a ticket that was stage ticket, this is where you'll be standing. But there's also another bit here in the back that's kind of VIP-ish as well. You know, so there's all these little weird tiers and class systems and shit going on. Because there's another stage. There's a stage here with stairs, as you can see, and there's another stage to the left and the right of it. So there's one that's right in line with this peace sign, and the other bits, and then the other bits here. So if you're back over there, you're not VIP. You know, if you're over here, you're VIP. Bit strange, but I guess, you know, you kind of got to give the people what they want. Blah 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 blah. More, is there a review here? The after party was absolutely nuts. Great after. They had the after party too. It looked pretty cool. People loved. What's it? This is an ID from one of the people. Wanted an ID tag from one of the clips. One of the clips of the show here. Let's play this. Okay, cool, not too bad. A clip from the after party here. I don't know what the location was, but it looked pretty cool. Where the venue was, it looked really fucking cool. I think I might have seen I forgot what they call it. Is it Prolands Bar, however that you pronounce the name? I think they might have done a rave here once before. I don't know what the venue is called, but it looks really nice. So yeah, cool little location there for the after party. I'm not mad at that in the slightest. Another clip of Resnick playing at the afters here. Fucking vibes. I did see a lot of people posting sale tickets of the after party. I guess people that didn't go, they must have been kicking themselves because the after party looks fucking live. Anyone know what track this was at the Berlin show? Let's play this. Cool. That sounds like a vibe, but again, very boring. Another clip from the afters. Someone knows a track from this, from the Berlin afters. vibes. Can't be mad at that. Can't be mad at that. Afters again looks fucking fun. More track IDs. Ooh, the smoke effect as well coming through that peace sign as well with the barbed wire and shit. The angles. They definitely set this up well for social media. This is a cool little picture. Cool angle as well. I'm not mad at that in the slightest. You see how that happens with these tunes? Like, I feel like the drop kind of like evaporates very quickly. That's what I don't like about this sound. This atmospheric house, this version of house music that they make, when that drop, like the build up, you know, the crescendo is fucking great, right? Before it drops, it's great. And when it actually does drop, it's awesome. But soon after, it kind of evaporates very quickly. It kind of feels like the high you get off a balloon, you know? Like that split second is pretty cool, but it's, you know, it kind of goes really quickly. Same thing with this. It's like it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It just feels very lackluster, you know, like, a little bit. Not lackluster. No, that's a bad term. Probably underwhelming. That's what it is. Maybe it's a little bit underwhelming. The drop after all that build up, after all that fucking happening, it's like, you know, like come on, man, like really kick me up the ass, really smack me over the head. You know what I mean? Elbow me, kick me, beat me. Another clip from the after party. Personally, I don't think anything could ever top the Troxy in London. Intimate, but wow, the afters is the best thing in my life. Let's see this one. Of course, the cigarettes are out in effect at the fucking afters, right? I'm not sure if this is all smoke from the machines or if this is cigarettes, but one thing you know when you go to a party in Berlin, there's going to be a ton of people smoking cigarettes. If you don't like cigarettes, you better not go. Yeah, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. Another one. Can someone help me with the ID? Is this from Berlin too? I think it might be from the Berlin show. Another angle. No, I don't think this is Berlin. Somewhere else. Yeah, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. Another Berlin Afters ID. Niggas want an ID from a 20-second snippet, you know? Like, how are you meant to get that from 20 seconds, brother? Another clip from a banger played by Desiree from Desire, or how do you say her name? I'm assuming it's going to be Desiree or Desiree. Desiree? DC. D. Big up D. Big up D. A lot of security there, isn't it? A lot of fucking security. Security smoking cigarettes and shit. Gotta love Berlin and stuff. Nice, nice, nice. And I think that might be it. Last clip here from the rave. So many Caucasian people. God damn. Yeah, so big up the Mundeles. They had a good time. But also big up Keinemusik for putting on a pretty, what looks like fun event. You can't deny that. You can't freaking deny that. Anyways, my friends, thank you for tuning in. For the pleasure to have your company. That was Tazz episode number 932. 932. If it's the first time checking out the show via the YouTube, you know what to do. Smash like, hit subscribe, all that good shit. If you listen via the podcast app, of course, you know what to do. Leave me a 5-star review, share the show with all your family and friends, get in contact via the link in the description. Timestamps will be down below too. Those of you listening via the podcast app, you will hear my tune of the day, courtesy by the one and only Blood Orange, aka Dev Hines. New album on the way, I think tomorrow actually. Dev Hines' new album drops tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to be playing one of the lead singles from this album. That's going to be coming out tomorrow, which is by Blood Orange, aka Dev Hines. Big up Blood Orange. It's a track called Mind, Loaded, featuring Palochek, the legend, Lorde, and Mustafa. An incredible feature list, actually. I've been playing this for a while since it dropped. Can't wait to hear the rest of the album. But the tune of the day for me is Blood Orange, Mind Loaded, featuring Palochek, Lorde, and Mustafa. That's my song of the day. If you're listening or watching via the YouTube app, you won't be able to hear it. Unfortunately, copyright, you know that good shit. So thank you for tuning in. Like the stream before you leave. Leave me a comment down below, and I'll see the rest of you guys later for a random show. But for now, peace, take care. Thank you for tuning in. Peace, take care. Thank you for tuning in. Peace.